today we've seen both Pathos and Anarchy advance. The last remaining question is it going to be Jin Air or Longzhu Incredible Miracle in this final best of 3?
Speaking of Longzhu,
of course, one of our sponsors for this tournament, alongside Azubu and Naver. Naver, of course, is a new app B where you can watch the tournament live in English or in Korean. It's available on iOS or on Android. And additionally, you can follow Korean pros, Korean personalities, maybe even some North American personalities, and find selfies, little Vine-esque videos. It's a very interesting app. I highly recommend checking it out. But enough for sponsors. Let's look back at the tournament. Let's look back at Incredible Miracle. And more importantly, Jin Air Green Wings. The reason I say that is we're seeing some pretty massive roster swaps coming in here for the Jin Air Green Wings as we look at the lineups on your screen.
Yeah, so we're going to start with the fact that GBM is nowhere to be found. Instead, starting the new mid laner, of course we've seen him a couple times, it's Kuzan. Most well known for his Azir play. See if he pulls that champion out today and how crazy it's going to get.
Of course, Sohwan in the top lane, formerly known as Exile, used to play on the team we just witnessed win, Pathos. Sohwan, a Riven main known as Exile, and now coming in as an incredibly aggressive, carry-oriented style top laner. A huge change of pace in that top lane role from Trace, who was an incredibly skilled, incredibly low economy top laner, but also not a very high impact, not a very carry-oriented top laner.
It comes down to, for Jin Air, is that they effectively were at least top 5 in every single position, specifically, especially their jungler Chaser, a well-known or well-thought to be the best current jungler in Korea. I almost said China there. In Korea. But it was almost like a team of 5 supportive style players. That they didn't have that central primary carry, and it kind of fell to Chaser to step up and to kind of be that carry when they needed it. But it caused their games to kind of elongate and be very long. They have the longest average game time out of any of the LCK teams. So the answer is, will the mid shift away from GBM, will the top shift away from Tracer create and open up a true carry position for Jin Air to take their macro strategy to the micro level?
Definitely something we're going to have to look out for as we move into this series. But let's take a look at Incredible Miracle, Longzhu Incredible Miracle specifically. And previously, this team not known for having like a reliable, consistent sponsor, consistently around the bottom tier of LCK teams, but now with a reliable sponsor and with a stable roster, they've had a lot more time to practice, a lot more time to figure out their issues. And the big question is, with all the downtime they've had, are we going to see some superior performances, or is it going to be the same old Incredible Miracle?
Now, the players you really have to watch for on Longzhu IM is going to be their mid laner Frozen and their support Ignar. Most recently, they've kind of been shifting their top lane between 3 top lane carries. They recently haven't not signed, but they didn't register Apple, so it's Lilac, as well as Expression. Expression should be starting here. And then Roar and Sunstar for their 80 carries, most recently playing with Sunstar there. So see how that goes, but Frozen is the primary carry here. He's the guy that you want to watch.
Frozen, of course, known for an interesting champion pool, mostly known for his Victor, control mages in general, one of his favorite things, but just so proficient in those team fights, just such a strong individual player for this lineup as a whole. Really interesting to see how he stacks up against Kuzan, a relatively newer talent. You can say Kuzan known for that Azir, but also known for his first debuting 4 different champions in his first 4 games. And that alone was a pretty impressive start. Won all 4 of those games, by the way.
Just a big question mark on where Kuzan's really going to fit in the giant scheme of Jin Air, and likewise for Longzhu IM. You know, what are the skill ceilings of these teams now, and is this offseason the time that they're going to flex it? So did notice that it's not Chaser, it is Winged playing jungle for Jin Air.
Interesting. Now, I'm not exactly sure what to expect in that. Chaser, considered one of the best, if not the best jungler in Korea, and it seems interesting that they would use this time to develop Wing when it seems like there is really no need at all to shift junglers on this team one.
I mean, frankly, I didn't really think that there was any need to shift away from Trace. I really like Trace's style, though with the meta changing more into hard carry style, I can see why they would go with Elixir. Excuse me, Sohan. He's a Riven main. You look at his solo queue, this guy is playing Riven. And what's curious, too, is he plays Riven without building Hydra, so he's not using the Hydra proc to cancel the auto attack frame. He's doing it by himself. So that tells me that he's a very high-end mechanical ribbon player.
Yes, it's of course, for those of you who are fighting game players, it's a very, essentially, I don't know the specifics, but it's around...
skip frames.
Yeah, it's essentially a 3-frame window to animation cancel Ribbon's, some of Ribbon's abilities. Now, the easiest way to do it is with an item that will just automatically let you cancel that animation. However, you can do it by clicking furiously. I'm not even sure how to do it myself personally, but I know that the Tiamat is not necessary for that animation cancel if you are skilled enough.
Just checking his build. Doesn't build a lot. So I'm really curious to see if the Ribbon will come out. Now, Ribbon 5.21, we are playing on live patch. Kindred is enabled. She did see some recent nerfs to her, the cooldown on her ultimate.
Yes.
Wow, words are hard. It's been a long day.
Luckily for us, we're looking at a new Jin Air, so maybe we won't see 50-minute games. But if we do...
You tried to sell that. You're like, lucky for us, Jin Air doesn't have the longest average LCK time with these subs. But who knows? It's a completely different team.
It could go longer. We could go longer.
We could go 70 minutes. Let's go the distance. I see Jin Air looking to fly. Get it?
Excellent.
Got it.
Excellent. Is this going to be a glad playing day or a sad playing day for Jin Air? We'll have to see with this new roster and new lineup.
And it should be noted that historically, at least in the summer split for the LCK, that Longju IM were never able to beat Jin Air Green Wings.
Yeah, 2-0s in both of their regular season matches, and
very long games, though. I believe one of them,
games.
Jin Air took an inhibitor, opened it up at 18 minutes, and then didn't take the inhibitor until 43 minutes.
Took the inhibitor tower at 18, didn't take the inhibitor itself until 43.
It was a curious day.
We watched that VOD a couple times, too. I just really figured it out.
I really enjoyed Papa Smithy's cricket explanation.
Yeah, just went deep on the cricket. I mean, that's something you got to respect. The man knows his cricket. We all learned a little something about cricket. Jin Air learned a little bit something about extending the games.
Jin Air was playing cricket that day. But they're here to play League of Legends. They're here to see this new roster through. I'm excited. I love that sign. Look at the penmanship
got
there.
the Longju fans coming out. Man, my handwriting is not anywhere near legible.
That is beautiful.
I'm super impressed.
Aurelia. I'm ready.
It's going to be, I think, an excellent set of games between these two teams. We're looking at the new face of Jin Air, potentially, could have a very similar identity. We're really not sure. And Incredible Miracle, given a lot more time to practice, given a lot more time to prep, they've consistently been a bottom team. And this is a good shot for them to rise out of that, to change their reputation.
And you got to think.
Apparently it's Frozen's birthday.
Maybe he'll play really well now. I mean, Longju IM, to be an IM fan, you've been through thick and thin. I mean,
we're CLG fans.
I was just going to say, I'm a CLG fan.
I don't even think we have it as bad as IM fans.
And I couldn't do that. I've been through a lot. I mean, I've been through Wild Turtle tryouts.
Oh, cute little Tucson picture, though. I'm not a big fan of the Tucson Gragas, but that's pretty dark.
That was really cute. Their uniforms. Jin Air should just win an award. I mean, the Tigers have really cute uniforms, but I'm a fan of the jacket with the little tie. It doesn't get in your way because it's just like pressed onto the shirt.
It's literally just a decal on the shirt.
Yeah, it's efficient and cute.
It's good for me. I'm like so awful at tying ties. I need one or two of those shirts.
Yeah, fun fact, he didn't tie his own tie. Take the award away. But here we go, we're into draft phase. Jin Air Green Wings on the purple side and Longju IM on the blue side.
And this is going to answer a lot of our questions right away. Of course, a little bit of jungle focus coming down. No surprises to see Wings Rek'Sai taken away. A slightly different jungler in terms of style, but still going to be able to have high impact on that champion. Gangplank, a powerhouse overall. Now that GBM is no longer on the lineup, one of, I think, the greatest Gangplank players in the world. No reason to leave it out. And so Juan's
There's that Riven.
Taken away as well.
I want to see it so badly. I want to see how Jin Air play around a true carry top laner. Now, Ryze also being banned away on purple side. 100% agree. My prediction was wrong, by the way. Pathos and Young Boss didn't touch the Ryze. They weren't about that life.
Maybe Ola is a good real pick to watch out for. Kindred, of course, taking away. On blue side, interestingly enough,
tells me that they want Fiora.
Interesting. I wonder if they've put that together already after the limited sample size of Kindred, or if they're just not comfortable playing it and do not.
It doesn't have to be Fiora, but when you see a band like Kindred, who's, I'm not going to call definitively broken, but very strong currently, it tells me that you're prioritizing you're trading that for another big pick because you don't want to pick the Kindred. So you're trying to get a Fiora, a Callista, a Fiora.
Fiora immediately locked in. I'm wondering what we're going to see on the opposite side. Callista's still up. Tom Kench as well, still available. This Fiora in the hand.
The reason why I guessed Fiora is simply because Sohan is a carry top laner, so if you're going to ban the Riven, you then ban the Kindred from the blue side in attempt to take away, so like a double denial.
What is Sohan going to play is the big question here. Almost exclusively plays Riven. Darius, of course, has received a decent nerf on the most recent patch. Definitely not a very ideal matchup. So much counterplay present for Fiora. Able to riposte that very much telegraphed Noxie and Guillotine. This lock-in will tell us a lot about what Jin Air want to do with their composition. Very standard first rotation if they do decide to go that way. I think Tom Kench Callista would be an excellent first rotation.
Oh yeah, you could do Callista. That would be smart.
All right, busting out the Lee Sin. Now, no surprises here. Lee Sin, I think the standard comfort pick of almost every, not every jungler in Korea, but a very powerful pick overall. Success rate in games is entirely determined on your individual skill. He's not necessarily the strongest character in terms of raw stats, but the potential for playmaking is always going to be there, winged. Happy to pick that one up for himself, and the Callista will go through to the bottom lane.
See what the response is, if Longzhu IM are just going to hide their hand and match support for jungler. Popular AD carries into Callista include Tristana and Ashe. Obviously, Tristana able to follow the martial pose with her satchel damage, so she doesn't have to chase her down. Also has insane mobility and kite potential with the Buster Shot, as well as the rocket jump. It's going to be Ashe instead.
Ashe and Thresh, of course. Did we see it was Sunstar or Sunstar coming in for game 1, yes?
Yeah, it's Sunstar.
Okay, Sunstar, of course. One of those players who really likes to play a more hyper carry style, but just does much better on utility style champions. And I think that this is, he may not be his favorite champion, but I think it fits him stylistically, and it's something that I like to see him play.
He did play it in the last time Longzhu IM played in their spring promotion. Only played it once, as well as Callista and Vayne.
Style. The Hecarim, this is the second time we've seen a Hecarim today, not a champion I thought we would see too much of on the current patch, but obviously has the potential to snowball games. It seems perfect for what we know about Sohan.
Yeah, but we also kind of recognize what it does into the Fiora pick, just that it's hard for Fiora to chase and kill Hecarim in a 1v1 because of his mobility. And because he's able to make these very quick exchanges back and forth between base and lane, he can get tiny, minute item advantages and just try to survive the lane phase and just be that late game hard engage.
Of course, there's an abundance of hard engage on the Jin Air lineup. This does not look like a team that wants to play around the late game. A lot of early game strength in the Lee Sin, mid game in the Callista and the Kennen. So I'm curious to see if Jin Air will default to that late game strategy where this team comp might start to fail them, or if they're going to be willing and able to play more aggressive in the mid lane.
What is Kuzan going to take as the counter pick from red side? And how will Longzhu IM flesh out the rest of their composition? They've got a lot of pick potential, a lot of skirmish potential. Wow.
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 Boy, that's...
Okay, so they take more pick potential as well as the attack speed steroid that Nidalee can grant. And then they take 0 wave clear, but great backline janitorial cleanup. So, Kassadin.
Yeah, double backline diving threats with the Kassadin and the Fiora. Callista is going to have a very hard time. Now, similarly, this is a match.
But they're not bringing pretty much... The only hard CC they have on this lineup is a Death Sentence and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
It's going to be a very tough spot to be in if they cannot find any advantages early on. Kassadin, of course, will scale up into the late game, but will have a very... Most likely will have a very hard time in the laning phase. It really depends on what Kuzan wants to pick up here, but regardless, the mid game is going to be rough. Lissandra, a popular pick so far this tournament, getting busted out here. And I think this is one that we've seen Kuzan on already, and I believe that it's one of the games that Kuzan.
Lissandra has great roam potential. She's not punished by taking double teleport. Like, the thing about Azir is Azir's still going to be a strong champion, but I feel like Azir was really punished in the double teleport mid-meta. Simply because his only option is just to trade the tower when the enemy mid laner makes the teleport. Simply because if Azir teleports after someone, it takes him time to set up his damage, to set up his Sand Soldiers. It's not like a Lissandra where you already have insane mobility with her claw. where she can then also take teleport from the mid lane and just show up into a lane with hard CC with the Frozen 2. So I understand the rise of Lissandra. I still think it's Rise, Lissandra, Twisted Fate, and Vygar. Kind of like your 4 mid laners that you're playing around, and maybe picking up Azir in a very niche composition.
It'll be interesting to see if that's the way the meta develops as we move further into this tournament. Maybe Kassadin could come out as a strong pick, but there's definitely some weakness with the Kassadin pick. We'll have to see exactly how well Frozen can execute here, though, as we move into our first game in the final set of the day between Longzhu, Incredible Miracle, and Jin Air Greetings. All right, here it is, everybody. Our final set of the night. You can hear the...
Just let him do it.
It didn't happen in the first 2 games nearly that vocally, and that's like the thing when you watch Korea VODs is Doa always lets the chance come through, but both sides sound pretty darn excited about their respective teams. This is going to be a great match. The audience...
I'm already hyped.
I'm already hyped. We've got an aggressive composition that does not scale incredibly well into the late game in the hands of Jin Air. Things are changing. Teams are changing this time around. It's going to be some interesting League of Legends. But right now, it's just looking like a standard start as these teams start to feel each other out.
Yep, 5-point start coming out of both teams, just placing their defensive vision. Looks like we're also going to have standard lanes. No one opting for the lane swap.
Expression and Tucson look set to potentially double jungle here. Being ready for the lane swap. Maybe just a leash, though. We're going to have to see. Frozen busting out the Winter Games Kassadin skin.
The ugliest Kassadin skin.
I love that skin. You also hate it when I pick the Winter Games Twitch skin, though. So I just think you don't appreciate
Daniel,
mediocrity.
Let it go.
Is it interesting that the man named Frozen
is playing the Winter skin?
Disney Boy Wonder is playing not only the Winter skin, but playing against the Ice Witch herself?
It just got too deep, too meta. Here we go. Gromp start from Jay and Violet here. Should take this pretty easily. Meanwhile, Krug start being mirrored by Sunstar and Ignar. Now, I really like Ignar. If we're talking about Longzhu IM and, again, kind of players to watch, I feel like it's Ignar and Frozen. Hopefully, Ignar will get unlocked, be able to roam around, create some impact. I think he has a high mechanical ceiling, but that skin, or excuse me, that champion, just a tennis player.
Well, as Lissandra voices her concerns about Frozen clear in the mid lane. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Of course, in the bot lane, level 2 going to be reached sooner on the side of Jin Air, so they are going to have a decent advantage to bully and to play more aggressively. Just Kennen towards the lane, pretty aggressive early on. So Juan picking up a blue buff, and now headed into this top lane. Should be able to trade incredibly comfortably with Expression, given that he can just spam indefinitely now.
That's actually really smart, having the blue buff there, naturally, because Wing doesn't need it on the Lee Sin, not a mana-based champion. Able to take this as an early advantage against Fiora and try to get the advantage in the lane, although Tucson really... I saw flashing on the side of my screen. I was like, are they fighting already? No, it's just Nidalee in the jungle.
Tucson, not his cleanest clear ever, but not going to suffer too much as Lee Sin is on the top side. Frozen taking a decent amount of damage in the mid lane. Really, the 2 players we need to watch are Tucson on this Nidalee and Winged on this Lee Sin. 2 very aggressive early kind of snowballing champs. Che getting hooked out. The spear will not connect. However, he's going to go on the pale light. A little bit of a miscommunication, but Nidalee will secure it with the extra pounce. First blood over to IM.
And talking about Ignar, the primary playmaker, you are correct. Tucson is the aggressive jungler, getting the gank done, early levels, 2 and 3 on that Nidalee, but Ignar leading that with the death sentence. Beautifully done.
Excellent, excellent performance. Pinning them against the wall, giving them really limited options in terms of how he positioned his prep to get out in that situation overall. And already an advantage for IM, absolutely crucial here in this game, as they do, as you said, lack a lot of wave clear. Early advantage should help mitigate that.
Denying a lot of CS, or as much CS as possible, from Pilot's Callista here by trying to force him off of the wave. Meanwhile, Winged doing what he can with the information that Tucson is on the bottom side of the map, decides to do some counter jungling.
Has to be careful about diving a viewer, but it's definitely an option that's on the table, especially looking a little bit low.
Well, Sohan definitely has the push potential, like you said, with the blue buff, having the mana regen as well as the CDR for his Q.
Looks like Winged may make an appearance in the mid lane or just back off here. Excellent knowledge of timing on his camp. It looks like he's just going to head to the Raptors right as they respawn, but nothing super aggressive from this Lee Sin quite yet, and really needs to keep up if he wants to stop Tucson from taking this game under his vision control. Lost it, boys.
He went, and then he just got lost. Curious how Tucson is going to itemize that first blood gold. I'm looking at Ignar right now because I'm like, I really hope he gets unlocked to roam, and he participates in the first blood, and then he starts roaming around, and this is what I love about Ignar. I think he's a really talented player. I think he's really great understanding of pacing of the game, and see if he can make this gank connect.
You know when you're Thresh and you wander a little bit too close to the lane and the enemy gets to see the souls as the creeps die? That's exactly what happened. So Ignar, very smart player, but unfortunately not taking his own passive into account there. So giving away his gank and his intention.
Don't you just wish it was like Warwick, where you could just turn it off and on?
I feel like I'd turn it off and forget, and it would just ruin everything.
And that's the difference between a bad Thresh player and a good one.
Harsh. Well, Ignar, I'm sure, will join the ranks of good Thresh players someday.
He assisted in first blood. He's already there, Mike. Returning back to lane, though, has his pink ward as well as some boots. So, again, prioritizing mobility, roam-oriented support for deep vision. We'll see where he places those. If he's going to wander into the river. There he goes.
Winged, of course, moving around the map with Che, trying to find an advantage here, but is going to be spotted out by that ward. They'll know that he's on the top side of the map. So Juan currently at a level disadvantage. The riposte already being used here. So Juan still trading reasonably comfortably, but does not have the level 6 and can't really engage comfortably with this massive creep wave on top of him. Doing a pretty good job of keeping up. Actually out farming by a few creeps. Not something we necessarily expected from brand new talent.
And again, getting that early blue buff, itemizing early into the Ninja Tabi, and this is what I was talking about with Hecarim. Due to his mobility, especially the priority of boots initially for his damage on Devastating Charge, he's able to get these micro advantages through itemization because he purchases more ingredients than whole items comparatively to his lane partners.
Now, of course, still a relatively passive laning phase. We really aren't expecting too much action outside of jungle pressure or roam pressure, and both supports are currently on the bottom side of the map, so nothing too interesting. Tucson, though, poking his head around mid lane, looking for a potential play. The hawk shot coming out, trying to guarantee some sort of security and prevent any kind of counter game.
It is unfortunate that no one was able to apply pressure on Frozen's Kassadin before he had the Riftlock available. Now Expression trading back and forth a bit with Sohan in the top.
Expression doing a great job of hitting those vital points. Clearly been practicing this Fiora in his time during the off-season, looking pretty confident on these small trades.
You know, we talked about how we might not see a very long farm-esque game from Jin Air. You know, they've got the Lee Sin jungle. They've got the Kalista with the 2-item power spike, and I feel like we're just farming. It's only 8 minutes. There's still time for some fights.
When Che hits level 6, if there's not some action, we're going to have to call Jin out for this, or Jin Air out for this, because this is an issue that they've struggled with consistently in the past, is that, yes, they make plays, yes, they find advantages, but you can't just wait till 15 minutes every game to find a small advantage, to start your snowball. Sometimes you have to be willing to get more aggressive early on.
I mean, but at the same time, Jin Air have inconsistently but occasionally proven that that's exactly what you can do, that they can amass these gold leads through just their funneling of farm and their priority of objective control before, you know, just trying to beat the enemy team down through brute force fighting.
We'll have to see if they retain that identity once again. 2 new players means a lot of things could change. Kuzan, though, holding his own in the mid lane versus Frozen. Doing well so far. Keeping up in CS. Neither one having too much of an impact on the map just yet. Both are going to need a few more items under their belt. Kuzan, Megatron Cloak, and a Blasting Wand.
Looking for that Abyssal versus the Roa, almost completed for Frozen.
Strong rotation. This is the second time today that we have seen the challenging smite on a Nidalee, and it looks like this might be the alternative to picking up the Rod of Ages, as it offers pseudo-tankiness against a single champion.
It's a crafty way to think about it.
It's the only way I can think of justifying not building Rod of Ages.
He found the pink ward, but will he find more than he bargained for?
Speeder coming in, not going to connect. Kuzan backing out on that one, using the Glacial Path, going to make it to safety. Sure to add a snare in there, just to make sure Nidalee could not follow. Tucson going to walk away empty-handed, but will protect the pink ward overall, top lane. They're duking it out, but no real advantage on either side. Small advantage currently in CS for Sohwan, but nothing truly major at this stage of the game.
Che also starting to roam around. We've got all ultimates up and live. Will walk across the ward, however, so see if Longzhu IM do anything with this information as Che walking in with Winged, shadowing underneath him for some deep vision.
They know that Nidalee is on the top side. She was spotted out earlier, and it looks like they're just going to use this opportunity to get some deep vision. Could push into the bottom lane for the jungle. They're
Good
peeking their heads in.
From Ignar.
Ignar backing up, making sure the lantern is available. As you said, arrow available for Sonstar as well, but it looks like Sonstar very comfortable just to keep farming. Knows that that lantern is ready and available whenever he needs it. Not willing to give up any more creeps than he absolutely has to.
We also saw a slight posturing of a roam from Kuzan. So there was a thought there from Jin Air to possibly look for the dive on the bottom lane. Likewise, it timed well with Sohwan backing, so you'd have the home guard teleport available if needed. Instead, they choose not to commit on it, but I like the cohesion of communication there. You can just see the slight tinges of it, of are we diving this bottom lane? And if yes, everyone is getting ready in position to do it.
Speaking of diving and getting aggressive, Tucson waiting in the back of that lane, hoping to find some sort of aggression. Not going to move too much further forward. Maybe throw down some traps, get some passive vision control wherever possible. But of course, the bottom side of the map very much warded up by Jin Air. Not wanting to give up anything in the Callista Cannon lane.
Sandra pushing Frozen in quite well and actually taking decent chunks out of the tower, but so far, I mean, we saw the initial gank from Tucson. Either jungler, they don't have a lot of gank opportunity in this mid lane. It's going to be about how these mid laners impact their side lanes, and frankly, Kuzan has so many more tools on this Lissandra to do that until Frozen really gets up and ramped.
Backing out here, making sure to use the Glacial Path to take himself to safety. Frozen starting to out-trade. May start to shift once Kuzan is able to finish up that Abyssal Scepter. Should be able to on this back. Winged waiting in the bot lane. If they have the Fate's Call available, they could go in at a moment's notice. They're just not willing to commit. Kuzan trying to sneak out this dragon, but not really going to get the opportunity to do so. So no major objective taken. No major kills or huge pressure points. Both teams content to just keep extending the lane phase.
They are posturing for the dragon, however. I'm just curious what's going to break first. A recall difference between the mid laners, or if the top laner is going to commit on a teleport play on the bottom side of the map. Expression really starting to pull ahead as he's starting to bully out these trades between him and Sohwan. You have to imagine if that health difference gets too large in between these two top laners, that they can pull the trigger on the bottom side of the map, knowing that Fiora is stronger and more healthy than Hecarim.
And of course, with Longzhu, it's just a matter of time really before it feels like this Fiora is going to get a little bit out of control. Hecarim much stronger in that team fight, but there's just no facing Fiora one-on-one in those dueling situations. Additionally, while the option may present itself for Jin Air to teleport to the bottom lane to find advantage there, the question is, will they take it, as it frequently is.
No, for now, again, everyone just kind of content to sit back and to farm for their item breakpoints. You do have the Roa complete on Frozen here, so waiting for that to stack up. Likewise, the Abyssal and the CDR boots up for Kuzan.
Once again, a pretty passive game. Really waiting for someone to get aggressive, for someone to roam, to leave lane, but it's just so risky when both bot lanes can get aggressive at any moment. Both top laners have the potential to snowball very heavily if the other one leaves and is given the opportunity.
Tucson making his way down into the bottom lane. We have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow up and available. This is where the first successful gank took place. I think Ignar's faking that he's going for a roam. They're trying to fake for them to go aggressive on Sonstar.
Want to try to get him to start a play here. Very risky, though. Trying to bait Jin Air in. Not always the best idea. Not a team known for going aggressive, especially on the top side. Picking up some CS. Overall, once again, a very passive, very neutral early game. Tucson, though, may be able to sneak this dragon, and that would be the first sign of advantage for really either team at all. Ash throwing up the hawk shot.
I really appreciate the mind games from Longzhu IM here. So again, pulling Ignar into the river very clearly in vision. It's telegraphed, but it's effectively saying Ashe is alone, start a play. They stand in the brush, they try to see if Jin Air will bite. Doesn't work out for them. Nidalee's now at the point where she can solo the dragon 1v1. Ignar sits in that brush just to make sure that there's no sneaky pathing from Lee Sin, and they take the free objective anyway. So great execution and preparation for that.
And unfortunately, I mean, for Jin Air at least, that's going to be a sizable advantage so they can continue to move forward in the game, especially with strong scaling champions like Fiora and like Kassadin.
I can't get over this sound effect.
It's so good.
You should hear Chinese rumble.
I've never heard Chinese. I have no English. English Super Galaxy Rumble is like one of my favorite skins of all time.
Chinese rumble sounds like he's on helium. It's really high pitched and very squeaky, like a chipmunk.
He's on helium. Is that what the kids are doing? Sohwan gonna make it to safety. First exciting show of aggression here coming in from Longzhu, but not gonna have really any opportunity to follow up whatsoever. Hecarim, of course, more than happy to just dash on out of that one. Ignar throwing out some hooks.
It was close. Wing doing a good job though. Anytime that Tucson is appearing on the map, he's being sure to trade that for at least a camp. So at least doing something with the information that he's getting of the enemy jungler. Unfortunately, Ignar not able to punish him.
And of course, one of the big differences between these two guys as they push forward is that Nidalee going for a much more traditional Nidalee build with the Rod of Ages starting to start up. Lee Sin going to grab that sight stone. He's going to offer a lot more vision control for his team overall. Now, if Jin Air utilizes that vision appropriately, that's another question entirely. But for now, you know it's going to help them continue to extend this laning phase and to continue to keep their players safe.
Neither AD carry has gotten their boots. Both of these AD carries are saying that it's fine, we're going to sit here and we're going to farm. Now, Kalista has actually traded a lot of that boot gold towards a QSS fairly early in the game, obviously in response to Ashe, but we do have a play starting to be developed in the top lane. But Ashe sacrificing her boots for the Avarice Blade. So Sansa here is saying, I am going to farm. This is what I am going to do for the next 5 minutes.
Definitely seems like a viable option, especially when playing against this Jin Air lineup. Jungle pressure on really just has been mostly non-existent. Well, even when it is there, both teams are playing so far back, neither team seems willing to commit to any 2v2 fight. So without both junglers present in a single lane, it seems unlikely that these teams will choose to skirmish on their own. But when it comes down to scaling, which team looks stronger to you?
I'm gonna have to go with Longzhu IM.
Concern for Jin Air then, Longzhu kind of exposing that weakness in pick ban, knowing that yes, they lack wave clear, but also knowing that Jin Air aren't really the team to punish that in so many circumstances. Frozen, pretty solid trade there in his favor, and those are only going to get better as he moves forward in the game.
I actually think they can punish the wave clear fairly well. Pretty much your only wave clear champions are going to be Fiora can't do it safely, so Ashe and Nidalee. Nidalee in tandem with her attack speed steroid on the Primal Surge for the AD carry, but mostly just that volley since you have the cast into the mid lane. But again, anytime Lissandra approaches a tower, if that team is even or ahead, you have the threat of a dive potential with the Frozen Tomb. So there is a lot of siege with Jin Air simply because they have Lissandra.
When you're in Korea too, you just gotta be scared of this Lissandra stand. Just listen to that. How can you not respect that? Every time she throws out an ability, she screams at you like she's either going to kill herself or you. And that's likely what's going to happen if she commits on that glacial path.
I have a feeling that we're going to be playing around the dragon objective as a crutch for team fights. Because again, both these teams are content. This is how Jin Air normally amass their gold leads. Just through slight macro decisions in the lane phase of accumulating and moving around their farm and funneling it into the priority targets.
As a caster, this game is just actually perfect. When you look to cast Korea, there's a lot of games you want to cast. One of them has to be the Najin inconsistent games. Got those earlier today. And the other one you really want to see is the Jin Air Long. We're going to call it the Jin Air Long Con, is what I want to call it now. Because they're just always in it for the late game. Always in it to the end. And it's, I mean, it's an exciting experience to be a part of. And now, in true English Korean caster style, I feel like we need to find something to talk about that is not Jin Air.
The problem that I have with Jin Air's Long Kong, should this go that direction, is that they tend to make very clever and intelligent macro decisions kind of in the early to mid game, but the games go on for so long that it comes down to a single team fight, 45, 50 minutes in the game, and the single team fight when Ashe is present, when the Enchanted Crystal Arrow is present, is pretty terrifying for me if I'm a Jin Air fan, because I'm just like, that's just one mistake. One mistake late game is going to cost me.
Che taking spear, no follow-up there, however. Tucson, no way he wants to commit to that. However, this looks like we might see some pressure coming near from Longzhu. Cassidy headed down as well. Not going to push too much for that tower, but a little bit of tower damage. That is some progress in the favor of Longzhu IM.
I like how we're measuring this by progress. We've got some progress in the bot lane.
Well, the issue is that both teams are just so very passive. And Dragon respawning in 10. We could see Winged take his turn in sneaking a Dragon.
And that's what I was about to say, is that Longzhou IM, what they're doing is they're setting up preparation for the Dragon, so shoving in their wave, making sure that they're setting down the triangle vision. But hold on!
It could be in trouble.
Good landing
out. Not going to land. Ignar always where he needs to be with those landers, consistently staying back to keep his teammates alive. And some flashes exchanged there, but no real impact. Teasing us.
And again, Jin Air ready to pull the trigger, setting up their triangle vision, trying to reset their waves, prepping for this objective. Dragon, I feel like, again, is going to be used as a crutch for these team fights. But first tower of the game goes down, and it's to Expression.
Expression utilizing that Fiora and the ability to take down towers so very quickly if left unattended, and Hecarim unfortunately not able to come back in time. Wanted to save the TP over saving the tower. May try to get something back of his own. We'll have to see if Expression wants to give up TP, if he wants to give up that advantage.
He's got to walk. They've got Dragon in play, and they want to fight for it because they have the Infinity Edge complete.
Let's see if they go for it. Trinity Force making short work of that tower. So on starts to push in. So the even trade overall, it's going to be 1-1 in the tower game, 31.9 to 31.6, an incredibly even game. The only thing separating these teams is going to be that first play.
Is going to be this upcoming team fight should both teams look to contest for it. It looks like Longzhou IM is ready to play ball, so watch the arrow. See if Frozen can pick up the 2 kills that it seems necessary for Cassidy just to become an unstoppable beast.
Jin Air backing off though. It's almost like they want to risk a fight at this stage of the game. Going to let Lee Sin buy a null magic mantle.
Sorry, I really want to talk about this itemization. I really like Abyssal with Merc Treads, especially against the likes of Lysandra because she has hard CC. So effectively by taking the Abyssal, you're compensating the magic penetration that you would otherwise lose by taking the Sork Pen boots, and then picking up the Merc Tread. So I like those 2 items in tandem and what it offers, especially against the hard CC that Jin are bringing. So I like the itemization for Frozen there.
Yeah, of course, going to do very well against the snares and stuns present from Lysandra, as well as fear on Hecarim's ult. Stun from Kennen as well. So a good, seems like solid itemization, solid adaptive itemization from Frozen. Reading his team comp very well. Adapting on the fly. Ignorant Sonstar pushing in, staying a lot more aggressive on the bottom side of the map. Tucson also paying a lot of attention down there.
Massive item though is that Kuzan does have the Hourglass up and available. So talked about the itemization of the Sork Pen with the Merc Treads to compensate for not having Sorcerer's Boots. You've got the Hourglass that works beautifully in synergy with Lysandra's Frozen Tunics. Massive item coming out for this upcoming team fight. Surely one day, this upcoming team fight.
But not this day. 23 minutes in. Doesn't look like there's too much action on the map. One Dragon still the lead.
There's great deep wards. The action, it's because everyone knows where everyone is. So there's no need to make a super risky play because, again, everyone's just content to funnel down the farm. But, Wayne getting caught out by a ramp ward there. You've got deep wards on both sides of either jungle. Of course, Jin Air, a lot of their wards have just recently expired. But Longzhou IM, just look at their vision smattering. Just peppered across the map, if you will.
Impressed by the vision control for both teams. However, as far as taking action, a little bit lackluster.
He's like, I'm the play-by-play caster. Where's the blood?
There's no plays.
They're making plays, it's just not with their fists.
I just feel like if there was ever in the theoretical,
Okay,
let's dive into lore. Never mind, Dragon time.
Let's not dive into lore. Let's just avoid that one. Here we go. Callista has her rend onto the dragon. Pretty much impossible to smite away.
Gonna secure that one for Winged. A quick smite with confidence. Tucson gonna go down. A little bit over aggressive. Jin Air finally utilizing the power.
Not quite sure why Long Xiao IM decided they wanted to contest that. The thing about Callista is once she's set up on an objective, once she has that rend into it, it's pretty much impossible to smite away. As I say that, though, Wing did get the dragon secure.
Trying to find it. They're pressuring in this mid lane. There's a lot of wave clear. Trying to punish Frozen and his lack of wave clear. Sohan waiting in the wings. Expression is there as well, but the tower is quite low. Jin Air not looking to commit. Do not want to risk tower diving a Fiora and a Cassidon, and I cannot say that I blame them.
That would be pretty terrifying. Instead, going back to their side lanes on the top side and continuing to pressure forward. Now, Jin Air, despite the fact that they do have the invisible gold, excuse me, never mind, both teams have dragons. I was about to give them the gold lead, but never mind.
Nope.
They haven't amassed a gold lead at all.
Completely even. Double Rod of Ages aiding the scaling on the side of Longshore.
We're going deep. Oh, I remember what I was going to ask you. So we've already decided that Anarchy are the Honda Civic with a really sick spoiler and a new sound system, and Najin are the Ferrari. And as I say that,
going in onto Tucson, a quick, confident kill.
Oh!
Winged! Almost throwing that one away as he kicked him over the wall, but Pilot will secure that.
This is the secret, Sifa. We just talk about cars, and they decide that they want to go fast.
They can tell when we're trying to fill, and they're like, fine, we'll get aggressive. We just want you to talk about us, please.
Beautiful play right there. They've now got complete control of the red side jungle. Should be taking down this tower. And just zero response from Incredible Miracle.
All right, Jin Air finally turning it on. 26 minutes into the game, finding a lead. It's only
there we go. We've amassed the gold lead.
700.
Micro movements across the map and small advantages given over objective preparation. We are still Jin Air.
Pretty solid. Are you asking what car is Jin Air?
Yeah. I feel like they're a Volkswagen bus. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
the
like the van.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like reliable. Can go the distance. You always take it for the road trip. You grab all your friends.
I feel like Jin Air are that guy in traffic who, despite one of the lanes being clearly slower than the other lane, they're like, we'll all get there at about the same time. I'm in no rush.
I'm pretty sure that guy is driving the Volkswagen bus.
That's fair. Sometimes sleeping in the Volkswagen bus, like committed wholeheartedly.
The question was, would Sohan and Kuzan change the identity, and even Winged as opposed to Chaser, change the identity of Jin Air?
At the end of the day, it seems like same thing, although Kuzan could be in trouble, does have 2 spells to keep himself safe in the next couple of instances. Going to use the Glacial Path to get out to safety. Quick burst of aggression, but no follow-up here.
Everyone just starting to stack in this mid lane.
Fate's Call is available. Lee Sin does have the Dragon's Rage. Sohan with the Ignite and the Ultimate could try to find a flank, although Expression looks ready to cover it. Not a whole ton of wave here present on the side of Longju.
Kuzan's looking for the flanking teleport. He's pinging it out. There he goes.
For it. Here comes the Kennen. Does have the ultimate available. TP on the side. Going in. Does have the ultimate. Sohan could be caught out. This is dangerous. Having to retreat. Pilot in trouble using the QSS Frozen. Caught out though. Gonna get turned on so quickly. That targeted CC. So dominant in that fight. Expression trying to get some damage off, but the double kill for Kuzan.
And that is why you pick Hecarim into Fiora. As soon as the Fiora ultimate went down onto Sohan, he brilliantly, what is it called?
Onslaught of Shadows.
Onslaught of Shadows out of the team fight, denied the Fiora ultimate to go off, and Jin Air just completely pushed forward, eating up into Long Xiao IM.
And after a dominating team fight, they followed up with a quick turret and now a sizable gold lead, actually sizable, 3K in their favor. Now this is the real time for the new Jin Air to shine. They took a long time to find this lead, but now that they have it, Will they play aggressive? Will they get aggressive? Will they look for picks? Will they look for team fights?
This is so cool. Okay, so you have the flank come in. Brilliantly done by Kuzan, but for me, it's still all about Sohan. There's the Fiora ultimate. He disengages out. His team does a brilliant job creating space, protecting him, and everyone just feeds right into Che's Kennen ultimate, followed up by some hard CC from Pilot, pretty much going untouched until the very end of that fight. So really well coordinated from Jin Air Green Wings.
And between Che and Kuzan, there was just so much AoE, and it's a lot of damage that clearly Longzhu did not expect. They thought they had taken Pilot out, they'd taken Sohan out. They just did not respect the Kennen. They did not respect Lissandra.
Next Dragon going to be spawning in 45 seconds. We talked about how the lead has slowly started inching towards Jin Air's favor. See if that continues forward and if they're going to use that lead to bully around and to secure these objectives for free.
Kuzan gonna get blown up once again. Was such a huge playmaker in those first few minutes of the game, but now Kuzan finding his stride as he finishes up that death cap. 4-0 now the score for this rookie mid laner.
I was just about to point out the rookie mid laner coming in to replace GBM, looking fantastic on his return in the offseason with this Lissandra pickup. Love the aggression, love how eager he is. He looks like he's right in time with Che. Che, shadowing underneath him for that, was looking to block the lantern. He's helping. Didn't get the assist, but definitely there for moral support.
And of course, Jin Air posturing around this dragon. Should be able to secure this one quite easily. We talk about this all the time with Kalista, but it's a pretty free objective once she's able to get set up.
And he missed it last time. Let's see if he gets it this time.
Nobody gets that point.
You know, I think he's just given the gold for free to Winged. You know, he's got to afford
donate to the late game scaling these things. Oh, going in here onto Frozen. Frozen them. Quick to get out. I always get excited and it's like it's a Kassadin. I guess probably should calm down.
He's got Rift Walk.
He's always safe. Of course, still relatively passive, especially farming up on the top side of the map. And, you know, Jin Air really aggressive on this bottom side, but haven't seen too many plays outside of this. Mitchell's explosion of aggressive movement hasn't really been followed up. Of course, Baron kind of being poked around here by Longzhu, although I can't imagine that they'll try to take this one, at least at this stage of the game.
I like the difference in the itemization of Fiora builds between the LPL and the LCK. So in the LPL, Fioras will prioritize Essence Reaver, simply because they're prioritizing the CDR, as well as the flat AD that's comparable to Bloodthirster, and with cooldown boots you get 40% CDR for Fiora. In Korea, however, getting the Dead Man's Plate, as well as the Black Cleaver, and then going for your 2 armor items, so compensating the damage on Essence Reaver for the Static Shiv-esque proc, and then going straight tank.
Definitely interesting to see exactly how that affects the damage output, see the differences as the stylistic regional differences come into play. Won't get to see them go head to head.
We'll never get to see that.
I actually do not know if the final best of 5, if game 5 is blind pick, but if we got to cast a game 5 blind pick game, I would go nuts. Rise, mid lane.
There's some issues with that, however.
Rise. All right, kill the dream. We'll go back to the Jin Air, which is the Longzhu game. Of course, once again, just defaulting back to passive play. Jin Air not trying to overextend, not wanting to risk giving up their advantage, but in the meantime, Longzhu, despite being behind, are starting to scale up quite rapidly. This Kassadin is going to get out of control pretty quickly. Fiora as well, finishing up, or almost finishing up that Dead Man's Plate. Going to make it that much harder to get away from her.
I mean, he's got the items to be a backline threat. I mean, he's pretty much just missing another big AP item, which seems to be in the works. The issue is jumping on and getting to that backline is absolutely terrifying. The thing about Kennen's support is he offers so much protection in terms of his zone control with his ultimate. So as long as Kalista's sitting inside the Kennen ultimate, which sounds weird because you'd think that Kennen would kind of flash onto the backline and try to lock everyone up, which that is a viable option, but it dissuades Frozen from deciding to jump back there.
Obviously very risky for Frozen to push in too deep. He's a relatively tanky character at this stage of the game, but can't just disrespect a Kalista, can't risk getting locked down for any significant period of time. Doesn't have really any armor outside of that hourglass. And it's very vulnerable in those small instances where he does get locked down.
There we go, though. Jin Air starting to pick up their vision, move it towards the top side of Max, since Dragon is no longer in play. And it looks like they're actually going to try to commit on a sneaky Baron. They do have the power of Callista, never mind. Looking instead for the pick and get impatient.
Of course, Hawk shot coming over the top. They are just going to back out for this one, not wanting to commit, not wanting to risk giving up that fight. Can't say I blame them, although this does put them in an awkward position to defend their mid lane. Like you said, Longzhu just going to push mid here. Looking for a pick onto Che. Have to be careful about committing. Fate's Call is still available. This could be a fight. Looks like Jin Air are just going to give this one up and back off. Smart map movement and a great Hawk shot coming in from Longzhu. And
it's really nice because since Tucson did connect with the spears and start chunking down some of the Jin Air members, it gives them space to walk up into the river and start clearing out this vision on Baron.
Of course, turret going down for inspection bumps on the map. But here comes the Hecarim teleport as he tries to go in. Ignar in trouble, will get locked up. Wing is going to take that kill. Pilot getting locked down on the backside. Tucson running for his life, but here comes the Hecarim. A beautiful flash from Tucson to make it to safety. Ignite down. The cat is in trouble. Can he jump over the wall? Winged has as much mobility and may try to get out. Go into safety, but his body's telling him yes, and he's gonna follow that one through. Winged picking up 2 in that exchange.
Now moving up into the river and clearing out that vision. Naturally, you're still walking into Jin Air's information, and with that, they decide to pull the trigger and find a beautiful flank. Now, it doesn't translate into any sort of larger objective, but again, Jin Air still just inching forward their gold lead with these small little macro map movements.
Now a 3K gold lead underneath their belt, slowly extending it. As you said, the Dragon will spawn in the next minute, and they may be able to take that as well. Certainly moving down Che at least to posture in that area. Ignar desperately trying to clear out some of this Baron vision, does not want to get caught out once again.
See how they set up their vision if they're also going to contest that red buff. Do have a replay, however. Che's flash over this blue buff wall was absolutely beautiful. And again, this is just, I am so spread out. The fact that the arrow is coming down is kind of a defensive disengage as opposed to a pick option is always going to be a problem.
And definitely when we look at this fight again, you have to give a little bit of respect to Tucson for taking so much of Jin Air's time. Really denied them the option of taking the Baron by taking so long, and additionally saved a few members of his team. So the mobility of Nidalee buying a small respite for the side of Longzhu.
I don't think that was necessarily, I mean, obviously it was his intention to run as long as possible, but I don't think that was his intention to be on the top side of that fight. Like, if they do chase me, I can save everyone.
No, I think he made the best of a bad situation.
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure he was like, I'm over here.
In a game that is...
Oh, here we go. Oh!
Quick on the Lysandra reactions there. Kuzan.
Style points.
Lysandra may not be known as the most challenging mechanical champion, but you still got to flash those mechanics whenever you can. The quick Zanya's to dodge out the arrow there.
And the spear. I'm impressed. I'm sold. Kuzan for president.
We got him, boys. The GBM replacement.
Does he look good in a bow tie?
That's really the question. Does he like Doctor Who? How's his Zed performance?
Here we go, though. Callista does take the dragon, but meanwhile, Baron getting burned down.
They have to be very careful about taking this. Moving in on the backside. Sohwan is going in, but he does not have the ultimate to get to safety. Is going to use it to re-engage, actually. Expression is healing up. Che is caught out, and a massive mistake from Jin Air. This is what we talk about when we talk about Jin Air, and it's risks like that.
One bad team fight. We'll see if Winged can get the steal here. Frozen is trying to bogart.
Going over the wall, especially trying to find him out. Kuzan could be in trouble. They could find a kill here, however. Winged going in. He's got the fight! The Baron! Winged earning his keep in that exchange as everything gets turned on its head in an instant.
Oh my god, he got the Baron. He connects with the Sonic Wave on the Ash. Enters on Sonstar's face and finds the smite. What a crazy play to make. You want to talk about making the best of a bad situation. Wow, okay.
This is absolutely impressive. Kuzan buying so much time here. Wing is running around the side as they try to take him out. Frozen runs out of mana, goes in with the kick, steals the Baron. Goes down, but at the end of the day, a beautiful play.
That was a brilliant, cerebral play from Kuzan to stand. You know that Cassidy's going to jump that wall because you know that Lee Sin's going to go for the steal. So what does he do? He's not standing next to Lee Sin. He's standing behind him in Fog of War in the brush. He's waiting to offer that safeguard so he can then turn the burst damage around. That was for sure. I mean, an impressive smite from Winged, but that was tag team by Kuzan as well. He played that beautifully.
Kuzan really starting to shape up as a mid laner, a guy we didn't see a whole ton of in the regular season, but definitely showing off here in this set versus IM. Frozen doing well on this Kassadin so far, but not having nearly as large of an impact as this Lissandra. We'll have to see if that changes as we shift forward into the game. Dragon number 3, of course, going down in the favor of Jin Air. They are not going to get anybody with that Baron buff, however. Every single member of their team was taken out or was dead when they did get that smite out. So still getting the gold from it, still finding a gold advantage, but not as large as it could have been.
See how they're going to approach these team fights, however, definitely giving a lot more respect. Need to make sure that they're layering their CC appropriately, that you're finding the cannon ultimate on top of the Frozen Tomb, that you're hitting a key target and then blowing it up within the duration of Lissandra's CC. Likewise, on the other side, IM really need to make the most of these arrows. Can't afford to keep burning it on Lissandra's Hourglass. Need to hit Pilot.
Reliably hit Pilot. Reliably takes Sohwan out of the fight for any duration, but it really does come down to Pilot. When you look at the major sources of damage on this Jin Air lineup, Sohwan will always be in your back line, but if you really want to start a fight off right, you need to take out the Callista, and unfortunately, the QSS is going to make it very difficult to reliably lock her down.
Big item breakpoints coming out across the board, however. Everyone's 4 items in. We talk about it all the time. Jin Air, they look so good early on, making smart map movements, but just takes one arrow, one team fight, and IM are still very clearly in this if Sonstar can step up to the plate and make the pick.
Grouped around the mid lane, waiting, posturing, hoping to find someone out on their own. Meanwhile, the top laners are both separated onto separate sides of the map, content to split push out these waves and to continue to farm up. 41 minutes in, only 3 towers down on each side, but a 2-dragon advantage in the favor of Jin Air, and that may be their win condition, given how late this game has gone already.
Starting to group up and have a bit of a better posture on this mid lane. IM don't have the greatest tools for flanking.
Tucson once again potentially being caught out. The mobility from the cat, not enough, and that was a massive mistake, which will surely spell us in. But the arrow will find its way into the back line. They could find Winged. Just too tanky at this stage. Rolling out of Sunstar, gets the kick onto Frozen, not enough. A misclick there on both sides as they push in onto Frozen. Coming in, Expression is going to block the onslaught of Shadows, and it looks like IM have turned this fight on its head. A beautiful play from Expression, a bad kick from Winged, and a death sentence for Jin Air.
And look at Expression's itemization. That's why you see that type of itemization on the Fiora as opposed to the Essence Weaver. As she's walking around, as she's waiting for these hourglasses to drop down, she's stacking up those procs, and then she immediately finds a crit on top of a proc, and someone just explodes.
Absolutely incredible coordination from this IM roster. Had a lot more time to play together. These Jin Air players are a lot newer, but it's clear that sticking with this roster, despite poor results in the season, has paid off for Longzhu, as they just looked so confident in that fight. They knew they were stronger, and they took the fight to Jin Air, and they may just end the game.
Who's on the only one left up?
Not going to be enough here. Going to try to make it out. I don't think it will be enough, though. Trying to have a highlight moment. We'll take out 2.
God.
We'll take out not quite 3, but we'll save his team from losing the game as he finally goes down. Kuzan, absolutely stunning performance.
He's having a phenomenal performance right now. 7, 2, and 3, makes a crazy play. Yes, he loses 2 Nexus Towers, but like you said, saves the game for now for Jin Air. Obviously, with the teleport up on Frozen, as well as when Expression's teleport comes on, it's very easy for either Fiora or Kassadin to just easily walk into that base, but wow.
Look at this again. Just absolutely stunning. Uses the hourglass perfectly in timing. Uses it to heal up. Remember that change came through a while back. Flashes back, throws the claw. One more bit of mobility to buy some time.
Also, miscommunication from IM there to have the inhibitor tower sitting that long, that low of health.
But definitely coming together for Jin Air. They will grab their 4th dragon, so despite the game nearly ending in the favor of Longzhu, they will have to find a way to kill that Nexus before Jin Air can kill that 5th dragon, or things could shift very quickly.
They need to start setting up really defensive vision around their base gates and a possible backdoor. Very probable. Very easy. There they go, which is why they're warding in those bushes now, just to make sure that Kassadin or Fiora just can't walk up to one of those gates.
Pings are coming out into the base. It looks like that might be Longzhu's plan, just to try to find the backdoor, but they're aware of how many members Jin Air has postured around this area, how many members are putting down that deep vision. Longzhu backing off, playing safe, playing patient.
One play. Game went on for so long that you get that itemization out of Fiora. She's able to be that oppressive, late game, top lane carry. Wings now getting caught up.
No one wants to get on that, though. A single mistake, as you said, at this point in the game could turn everything on its head. Pick on the jungler, not how you want to start the fight. Was it Callista? Or if it was Callista, or maybe even Lysandra, that might have been a different story. Frozen very low on mana. This could be offer an opening for Jin Air, although I'm not sure if they'll take it.
Jin Air, a team that was pretty much top 5 in every single position, mostly supportive-esque players, trade out their roster, but seem to be plagued with the same problems and will lose this Baron for free.
And as Jin Air sees the hawk shot fly across their jungle, they hear the cry of the Baron, and they know that to a certain degree their fate is going to be sealed. Baron and power super minions, along with the raw power of this late game scaling Longzhu roster, should end the game. However, Longzhu still, as is the theme in these sets, have to make the plays necessary to actually win.
I think that's fairly easy at this point. Again, completely open Nexus. They've got a lot of versatility about how they want to go about this. If they want to look for a backdoor and just try to distract Jin Air, if they want to try to flood the base with super creeps. But just, you have to feel disappointed as a Jin Air fan to see elements of greatness, but it's still just not quite fitting together. Now on the other side, Longzhu IM, looking much stronger, particularly in Tusin's performance. Was very impressed with him this game.
And additionally, despite Sonstar's earlier failings, excellent positioning in some of those team fights. 1-1 and 9 the scoreline, much more supportive this time around, but the hawk shot has been crucial to a lot of Longzhu's plays.
See what the play is now. Sonstar obviously looking for the arrow.
Posturing, moving forward, waiting to try to find an engage, just kind of poking out here, using the full strength of those Baron-empowered minions, as well as the Nidalee Spears to try to fight. Che taking a huge chunk of health. If a single member of Jin Air goes down, this fight could turn against them. Jin Air are going to have to engage shortly, where they will eventually be overrun.
It's all on Kuzan. The two new kids have the primary engage.
Again, not looking to follow that up. Frozen throws out the force pulses. Finding an engage onto Kuzan. Will try to take him down. We'll get the Zhonya's off, but meanwhile on the backline, Winged quick to take out Songstar, or at least try to. But will drop to his special. The healing field is down, and this looks like it's going to be GG as IM clean up Jin Air and take this out. Not afraid to push in that base, taking the first game as the audience explodes.
Incredibly patient performance from Longzhu. They played neck and neck with Jin Air, made some small mistakes, but got it together when it mattered, and that was in the team fights. Lost the initial Baron, but were able to come back when it counted.
I think when we look at these teams, I am drafted to play against the old Incredible Miracle. The Incredible Miracle that would wait till late game, that would just kind of play patient until they could find one singular fight. And Jin Air did not draft that way, even though that's the way that they ended up executing in the game.
Yeah, to kind of look at Wings, with that Lee Sin made some great plays, but wasn't that early presence that you normally see out of these Lee Sin picks. It was just, sit back and farm, and IM were more than happy to meet Jin Air in the late game, like you said, with the superior late game composition. So kind of scratching your head a little bit there, but we'll see if they swap it up for the next game.
And of course, for IM, they have to feel confident going up with one game. They had not beaten Jin Air at all in the regular season, and so to get that first win here at the Naver KeSPA Cup has to be confidence boosting, must put them in good spirits coming into Game 2. But guys, we'll be right back with Game 2 after a brief break. Don't go anywhere.
바라만 볼 것인가? Save the world. 힛.
이연복 그가 만든 짜장면도 가루스프를 뿌리면 라면이 됩니다.
이래야 진짜 짜장이죠.
라면이 아니다. 짜장면이다.
발도 짜장면.
동맹에 참여하라. 그리고 세계를 정복하라. 게임 오브 워 지금 무료로 다운받으세요.
편의점 택배구만. 15년 됐다지. 싸지, 가깝지, 잘 가지, 편하더구만. 어른 얘기하는 대신
인터넷 예약하면 더 편해요. GS25에서
보내 GS.
바라만 볼 것인가? Save the world. 힛.
Show me how to lie, you're getting better all the time and turning all against one isn't art that's hard to teach.
기분 좋지가 않거든요. 와, 진짜 비싸게 치고 때렸어요. 저 횡신으로 때려갖고.
주입니다. 슬라이딩.
아, 예, 되게
주입인데요. 슬라이딩.
자, 노력입니다.
북한에서 한번딱
날짜.
그렇죠. 와, 저걸 주신권을 피해가지고 공격이 위축이 되어 있습니다. 자, 걸렸고 들어 올리고 때려 땡고 동전하다.
괴롭게 잘하네요.
노리고
지난주에는 너무 쉽게 져가지고 안타까웠는데 저 자신도 이번 주에 꼭 올라오려고 노력 열심히 했었고 그 결과가 이렇게 좋은 결과로 나와서 정말 기쁩니다. 제가 철권 7에 들어오면서 내 메인 캐릭터가 없어서 이렇게 좋하지 않냐 뭐 이런 식으로 생각을 하시던데 저는 이 철권 7에서의 폴이 되게 좋거든요. 저는 가장 좋다고 생각해서 되게 노력을 많이 하고 폴로는 기상이라는 선수가 제일 유명한데 저라는 폴 유저도 있고 저는 이제 기상 선수와는 완전히 다른 모습의 폴이기 때문에 되게 기대를 많이 해주셨으면 좋겠고요. 다 없애버리는 식으로 해서 압승으로 진행을 해보도록 노력해보겠습니다.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Game 2 here in the Nexon Arena. It's going to be Longju, Incredible Miracle, and the Jin Air Green Wings. Jin Air Green Wings dropping their first game against Longju after an entirety of beating them in the summer season. So very shocking for us to see here. But at the end of the day, we're seeing a brand new Jin Air roster, but the same old Jin Air problems.
That's pretty much exactly the way to put it. It just came down to pretty much a Baron throw of epic proportions that went back and forth. That was a good rally, but in the end, it's Jin Air who dropped the ball and IM who picked it up impressively, especially with the performance from Tucson. You know, we talk about Frozen, Ignar being very consistent players of Gwangju IM, but Tucson stepping up.
One of the big questions we were asking as we took a break here was Winged going to drop out? Where are we going to see Chaser come back in? But it looks like no. They're going to stick with Winged, give him another shot, maybe a little bit more of a comfortable champion or a little bit less comfortable champion, a little bit more high impact in the mid to late game sort of champion. So a little less Lee Sin, maybe a little more Rek'Sai.
And this is setting the mentality of the tournament. We talked about the implications at the very beginning of the day. You know, what were the rosters that we were going to see from these teams? Was it going to be a no-holds brawl for that ticket to IM Cologne? Or was it going to be more about kind of flexing your growing pains, strutting your new talent? And it kind of seems like a mixed bag of results. Anarchy definitely going hard on the paint, but teams like Najin and Jin Air definitely look out of sorts trying to find their groove.
It's definitely one of the risks as players get older, start to retire, and you really need to find a roster that's going to be more successful for you. You just have to sometimes be willing to take these losses to identify what's going to work. But of course, Incredible Miracle don't want to take any losses if possible. Could go to a quick 2-0 if they can come out on top here in the pick ban phase.
This would be I mean, IM didn't 2-0 Jin Air at all over the course of the summer split. They were 2-0'd every single time. They haven't ever dropped a game. This is the first time.
And that, like as we were saying before we went to break, that has to instill confidence in this lineup. And honestly, they played pretty well as a whole to punish out Jin Air. Now, Jin Air had found a lead earlier on. Clearly, they're not going to let the Fiora through this time. But I'm curious to see if Riven will make it through picks and bans. As Jin Air are now
I think you ban it right now. I expect the Riven ban.
See Gangplank, Vygar, Fiora so far. Rise also being taken out here. I'm wondering if Incredible Miracle have an answer to the Riven, but against a player as comfortable in Riven as Sohwan, is there really ever an effective answer?
I think they want Riven first pick, either that or Callista, especially with the Kindred ban again from the blue side. It is going to be the Elise, so I feel like I am making them choose. Are you going to pick up that Riven for Sohwan, especially so early in the draft phase, or are you going to try to prioritize something else? Tom Kench, Callista.
The Rek'Sai has been an incredibly popular pick for Winged in the past. It'd be interesting to see what they do with it this time around. It looks like the Lulu, a pick that I honestly completely forgot about. There's just so many powerful champions. So Lulu coming in for Jin Air. Not sure if it is a Kuzan-style champion. I don't think I've seen him play any games on this one. But I think it's an anybody-style champion when we really think about it. Lulu is just so oppressive in the lane phase and so clear in what she wants to do at every stage of the game.
And again, with her high mobility on the Whimsy, she's not punished in the double teleport mid lane meta. Likewise, she's also able to pick up teleport should she need it. Again, she's just so quick that she doesn't necessarily always have to take that summoner spell. Bully lane phase, great utility, incredible mobility, not just for herself, but her teammates as well. Lulu's the complete package.
Of course, response to the Lulu, they will pick up that Rek'Sai on the side of IM, an incredibly powerful champion. Will offer them an immense amount of map mobility, as well as some solid comfort for Tucson here in the jungle. Admittedly, was pretty successful earlier on, but the Rek'Sai, much more of a standard Tucson kind of pick, much more of a standard jungle pick in general. With Thresh as well coming out. Lee Sin, repeat performance for Wing. This is not the best Lee Sin matchup I've seen, but Wing wants to prove himself on this champion clearly. Tom Kench also getting picked up. A very low damage composition so far.
Now, normally, in the past, you wouldn't have wanted to pick Lee Sin into Rek'Sai just because of how her Unburrow will affect the proc on his Q. That said, newer Lee Sin, it's a much easier matchup. At least that's what the LCS pros tell me. Still see if Winged agrees here, if it carries true in the LCK.
We're going to have to see responses on the side of Incredible Miracle are going to be incredibly important. 2 picks left for Jin Air, an AD carry and a top laner. Most likely. The Lulu could go top, we'll have to see, but a solo laner and an AD carry for sure. So a lot left to be desired. And who are they really going to save this last pick for?
I was just going to ask,
Frozen.
Is it going to be for mid lane or is it going to be for top lane? It is going to be for top. So a lot of respect giving to Sohwan.
Yeah, Sohwan. The solo Q tear.
He looks shocked. He's like, I can't believe it.
I can't believe we picked that.
I was going to say, I picked these champions.
Of course, Cassidy coming in once again. The low wave clear that we thought was going to be a larger issue just really wasn't played around at all on the side of Jin Air. Didn't really expose that as a weakness, so looks like IM are more than happy to lock that one in for Frozen one more time. Additionally, Sonstar, comfortable on those utility 80 carries. Not exactly a glorious scoreline, but was effective with those arrows and did his job in the team fights that IM did win.
Really want that Riven. I just want to see what he does with it.
He's going to pick it. He can't not pick it.
Been stalking his solo queue accounts.
I like how a lot of people call it research, but you call it stalking. And I say worth on the stalking because he's locking it in. Kog'Maw also the pickup here. This is a very interesting Juggernaut sort of style. Protect the Kog'Maw composition.
Yeah, you've got like the pseudo Gragas displacement with the Lee Sin kick. You got the Tom Kinch babysit semi-global presence with Kog'Maw there. You've got Sohan on his signature Riven champion. And then you've got Lulu. Help that little Coggy run around.
Keep him safe. Make him big. Now it's going to be very interesting.
Water him, feed him, love him.
Everything about this composition can potentially be exciting, could be immensely interesting as we move forward into this game. But my big question, what it's all going to come down to, as we said this whole time, is Sohan's Riven. This is what he's known for. This is what he always plays in solo queue. What he has brought his way up to the top of the Korean ladder with.
Wow.
And Aurelia going to be the response for Expression.
No fear. Here we go. It's going to be Expression's Aurelia versus Sohan's Riven in that top lane. Now, checking most of Sohan's itemization. Again, he doesn't normally itemize the Hydra. He'll pick it up occasionally, so look to see how he's going to be resetting in those frames. Obviously, he can do it naturally through mechanics. That tells me he's got a high mechanical ceiling for this champion. I'm ready to see the plays.
We'll have to see how this develops. Two very interesting compositions, very different goals, but a lot of late game scaling present on the side of Incredible Miracle, and a lot of late game Kog'Maw present on the side of Jin Air. We'll have to see if they can protect him. We'll have to see if Pilot is comfortable being the primary damage source for this team as they move into late game, or if Jin Air will finally show us that they know how to snowball a game and close out quickly and cleanly. Of course, still a little bit of time before we jump into the game. We wait for the players to load up.
I was ready for it.
Looks like we're going to go into game 2 right now. Get ready for us. We're going in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our final best of 3 of the night.
I don't know why you did that.
I always forget. Oh, man, Korean fans rock.
They do rock.
They're awesome. I'm sorry I keep cutting them off, audience viewers at home.
Stop
I
it.
sincerely hope you can hear them. The cheers are absolutely excellent. Pause came out, though, so now I get to say my regular intro. Well, welcome to the second game of the last set of the evening. If Incredible Miracle can find a win here, then they will be able to 2-0 Jin Air and move forward into the round of 8, something relatively unheard of for them given their past performances against Jin Air. This is the first win that they've ever found in our previous game tonight.
Since LCK Summer Split.
Since LCK Summer Split, yeah, it's true. It's not ever, but recently. It's the first one that they've had against Jin Air recently. And Jin Air with this new lineup, it's not the new lineup. That's what I want to say. I don't think it's the new lineup that's holding Jin Air back. I think you could make an argument that GBM may have played better, that Trace may have played better in those games, but at the end of the day, it's the same old problems. And if we have to choose between bringing back Trace and GBM, obviously GBM gone, and fixing the problem that this team doesn't seem comfortable closing out, I would say that the bigger issue is going to be closing out the games.
No, I can agree with that. Also, some coordination and consistency issues on team fighting, late game team fights, 5v5s, things like that. See if that gets smoothed over. Again, it's one game. It looked pretty reminiscent of old Jin Air, but that could show a completely different side this time.
That's what we're hoping for.
Whole new world, if you will. On the
A
other
new
side,
fantastic point of view.
No. Long Show I Am. I mean, we keep talking about Jin Air, and I know that they're really exciting to talk about, but let's talk about the winners. Long Show I Am.
Yeah, it's true. Long Zhao sticking to what they know and love, and the just Expression picking up Aurelia here. That is a bold move, and I actually really like it. So Aurelia, one of my favorite champions to see in competitive play. Just so interesting to me. The outplay potential, those those knife edge kind of trades where she suddenly turns it around with an equilibrium strike and can just do so much damage. But at the same time, a very risky champion to pick early on, and I feel like Riven is just going to be such a huge threat in this laning phase.
We'll see kind of where they're placing their skills, more importantly where Aurelia is placing her skills, if she's going to go for the equilibrium strike, which is fairly common, or possibly even a W for some elongated sustain and more true damage trades. Typically how the trade goes is once you're level 5, you walk in within E distance, you hit them with the E, tag them, get the slow or the stun depending on your health, then you immediately proc your true damage with W, and then you save your Blade Surge to make sure that you tag with at least 2 procs of true damage, as opposed to entering with your Blade Surge. And I feel like that's incredibly important, especially against Riven, just because she's so mobile that Aurelia really needs to be very aware of how she's using her Blade Surge to posture around the lane to avoid stuns or extra follow-up damage.
And definitely something that both players are most likely aware of, both very experienced in that top lane. Sohwan more in solo queue, especially more in competitive scene, but both are probably aware of how to play out this matchup. So it'll be interesting to see who can mentally outplay the other. A lot of mind games will probably be going down in terms of when to go in, when to play around equilibrium strikes. So we'll have to see how that develops. Additionally,
wow.
This skin, now see, I love Tahm Kench, but the other skin is just so good.
I've never seen him do that.
So on the other skin, he vomits up like sushi,
that
and
was
croissants,
icky.
and like pizza. On this skin, it's like a shoe. Like, that's gross, Tahm Kench. Stop eating shoes. Like, I respected the sushi and the pizza. No more shoes.
Just icky.
It's not food.
Looks like we're going to have some standard starts, though, so we will have the 1v1 Sohan's Riven versus Expression's Aurelia in that top side.
No surprise to see both top laners going for the double jungle, as is standard in the current meta. Both bottom lanes going for a camp as well. So mirrored starts on both sides. Mid lane, of course, going to be a big question as well. Kuzan proved himself on the Sandra in the previous game. Have to wonder how well his Lulu is going to work out.
That's cute, starting the shield just to deny some damage from Frozen. Relying on the fact that he is a ranged champion versus a melee champion for bully potential as opposed to the Glitter Lance.
Interesting adaptation of Kuzan. That's a matchup you have to be comfortable with. You have to be comfortable playing Lulu into anything because you need to be a lane bully. And not exactly bullying out Frozen yet, but may do so as he has hit level 2 first. Expression moving into the mid lane. This is a very odd move.
Just flash. Just do it.
Wants to do it. Rek'Sai coming in as well. Kuzan could be in trouble. Moving in, trying to get out here. May have to flash over the wall. Is just going to take his time on this one, though. Rek'Sai does not have anything outside the flash. Double flash over the wall. Kuzan will go down, and first blood for Frozen. Rek'Sai doesn't even need the tunnel.
They put the first blood onto Frozen's Kassadin, but in exchange, they give up a lead for Sohan in the top lane. Now, Expression will get some extra experience being involved in that kill. Does manage to catch a big wave, but we'll see how this really plays out. Level 2 to level 3, and if Sohan will abuse that window on the level 6.
Expression having to leap forward into that creep wave just to get some CS, taking a lot of damage in the process and burning through a lot of mana as well. Doesn't look to be too much of a favorable lane phase, but did get that Kassadin early advantage, which is something we did not see in the previous game.
That was also a 3 flash trade for 1. So, again, more windows of opportunity for Jin Air to punish that play.
Sohan getting aggressive up on the top side. Wondering if he's going to be able to punish the lack of flash and Expression. Winged also on the top side as well.
Now, what is with him and Winged?
I don't know.
It's like a bird.
Winged. Yes, I mean, it's clearly the right name, and for some reason, Winged is stuck in my head.
He's literally a plane. A winged plane.
This was the glory days of naming Korean teams when all the team names...
I just love how they're like Captain Jack, Pilot, Winged.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, all the team names like synced up so well. No more. So Of course, Tucson clearing out this jungle, looking much more comfortable on this Rek'Sai pick in this game. The Nidalee was impressive from him, but definitely not something we've seen too much from him. Tucson also clearing out the jungle, and once again, it looks to be a relatively passive early lane phase. Jin Air, really the ball is in their court to make a decision. They're the ones with the extra flashes. They're the ones who should be able to punish Longju. But Longju, seemingly fearless. They burned all those flashes earlier on.
No, I completely agree, but that said, they haven't put themselves in a situation to be punished relatively close to their towers. You look from the top side, Expression farming pretty much underneath his tower. Frozen doing a good job as well, managing his wave, making sure he's not overextending pre-level 6. Really just the bottom lane, but you have the safety net of Ignar and his Thresh Lantern, so...
Yeah, and this is a bot lane that is just going to be so safe. While Ashe normally could offer some engaged threat, Che on this Thresh is just going to make sure that absolutely nothing happens without the help of a jungler.
See how this will evolve. Sohan roaming down, looking for either a gank. He does ping on Frozen, but I think Frozen's way too far back in the lane. You have to come up deep for a CS. Is he going to get greedy for the caster creep?
To level 6.
Oh.
Wants to get in there. Does have the Null Sphere. And the fourth place has to be careful. Wing coming in. They're going to secure the kill on Frozen, and a quick kill onto the Lee Sin. A beautiful showing of coordination and significantly less flashes burned.
Yeah, beautiful communication. That's how the gank was done. Again, Frozen just stepped forward for that caster creep. Great patience, and impressed with Kuzan not telegraphing that.
Kuzan playing very far back. Good acting, I believe it's called in League of Legends.
Give him the Oscar.
Yeah, definitely excellent acting overall. And
he pretty much sat on the caster creep, so I felt like Frozen should have known something was up, but...
And it works out in the favor in the end, and Jin Air are able to keep even. And this time around, their composition isn't just going to fall off into the late game. They do have that Kog'Maw, so it may work out just a little bit better. So on clearing out these creeps before going back to push in, especially going to get his first back, buying that Sheen, looking to trade with his Aurelia.
Yeah, so as opposed to the Phage, which will give her the tankiness and the chase potential, like you said, looking for that burst damage. So itemizing for her E, looking for short duration trades before really trying to commit.
Tucson poking around the mid lane. Might start to posture around top, as you said already. Expression might look for trades, and nothing would help him trade better than a little bit of jungle attention. So they may just leave him to scale up, hoping to keep even. Sohan in the top lane. Pilot and Che pushing in. May start to posture around Dragon. Winged is on the way. Looks like they may push in for some deep vision here, potentially hoping to find a larger advantage later on.
Jin Air moving really well as a team. We're looking to get deep vision, but they don't have any eyes on Tucson, so just being very respectful. They do manage to get the deep ward onto the Gromp.
Sohan once again pushing up, taking a jungle camp, not wanting to go toe-to-toe with this Aurelia, not knowing where the Rek'Sai is, giving him a lot of respect. Taking a lot of Wings jungle, though. This is an interesting decision. I'm wondering how it's going to affect Wings as they move forward.
Well, Wings really should be farming for his level 6. There he goes. I was going to say, he should be getting it relatively soon.
Both junglers actually hitting level 6 at relatively the same time. Looks like going to be a lot more map.
Here comes the arrow.
Coming out, moving into mid lane. Azubu stepping forward. Lee Sin.
Hit him across
the
map.
3-second stun, but I don't think there is any way someone can follow up on that Expression. Kind of peeking his head in the jungle, ready to go in. They are going to use this as an opportunity to secure that blue buff, however. And good use of the crop map arrow to kind of get some pressure down. Sohan going in way too aggressive. Abyssal Void is on the way. Sohan immediately going to get lit up as Expression takes him out. Che trying to peel backwards. Has to flash out, trying to take Lee Sin to safety. Wild Growth being burned out as well. And IM are absolutely dominating Jin Air. A beautiful play from Expression.
Just miscommunication over eagerness from Sohan right there to look for the engagement. Kuzan wasn't in position on the Lulu. He was coming around through the jungle. Tahm Kench Che wasn't in position to pull him back as soon as he found the AoE stun, because I have to assume that was the game plan there. Jump in, get stunned, have Tahm Kench pull you to safety. Instead, just gets deleted from the map, and this gives IM a free numbers advantage in the mid lane.
And IM, unlike Jin Air, do not appear to struggle When they're given a small advantage, they are happy to take it, and they are happy to shove it in the face of their opponents. As they take down that tower, we'll have to see if they can keep this ball rolling.
They should just rotate this into their dragon control. Looks like they're going to look for their backs to spin the gold that they just picked up on the kill, as well as the tower objective. But I am in full control right now. We'll see if, like you said, they can make the difference from Jin Air and find those aggressive calls.
Definitely the question, as Frozen picks up not only the enemy, or sorry, Tucson picks up the enemy blue buff. Frozen will pick up his own. No blue buff available for Lulu will affect them in the next fight. Especially looking quite comfortable on the top side of the map now that he has 2 kills and is remaining even with Riven and CS. Oh, Blade Surge. So fun to watch someone farm on Aurelia.
I love watching good Aurelia players. It's very relaxing. It's like good Yasuo players. Okay, so we've now swapped Frozen with his bot lane.
Tucson going in as well. Frozen has to be careful. And tempted to go in, but not going to follow up on that kick. Probably a good choice. Che has no flash to jump in and try and save the day. Sonstar also positioned around on the bottom side of the map. This is 4 members of IM, or was. Cassidy now TPing back to mid lane, and Frozen staying even with this Lulu, and already has the Rod of Ages, only 10 minutes in, and that is an excellent start for Cassidy.
That's about 4 to 5 minutes sooner than you would normally see the Roa completed.
Of course, getting that sooner means it'll scale up sooner, guaranteeing value. And that as Aurelia moves towards, looking to go in on Expression, getting knocked up, the chain CC coming out, but nothing really too much gained there. Just not a lot of kill pressure, as Sohwan has so very little damage at this stage of the game.
Kuzan trying to make plays happen on the map. Very dangerous for him to be overextended in the mid lane without his first tier tower. So looking top lane, does manage to trade his pressure for the flash.
Jin Air finally going to be able to take down a tower as Pilot moves in on this one. Has to be careful. Will secure that for the team overall. It's now 1-1 in towers. Sohwan could be in trouble. Expression going in, playing aggressive. Has to be careful. Riven could turn this fight around, but Tucson is there for backup. Sohwan using that ultimate, trying to get away, going back in. The stun coming out. The ultimate, what an outplay! Sohwan. This is why you banned that Riven. That was a beautiful display of mechanical skill.
The 1v2 style kill, and effectively it was Expression just getting way too close and not respecting the spacing of Sohwan right there. In return, Jin Air will also pick up the dragon, with Sohwan getting 2 resources of IM up top.
And I sincerely hope that we see a replay of that, because I'm pretty sure he used the 3rd proc on his Q to jump over the Rek'Sai Unburrow. I don't know if that's how that works, but that's what it looked like to me. I'm going to have to look that up after this game, because that was absolutely insane. It looks like a beautiful display, for sure.
Flexing that style. Straight into Black Cleaver.
Going to be a significantly more favorable matchup now that he has that item in his inventory, as Aurelia struggles to finish up this Triforce. Winged moving down into the bottom side of the map, looking to make another play. TP coming in. Looks like Sohwan isn't done yet.
Oh, it's the double
for
TP.
more blood. Kuzan on the way. Ignar, there's no hope. Moving forward, may be able to get this one. Lee Sin gonna kick him back. They may have to settle for just Ignar. Sohwan pushing far, far ahead, but the good flash from Ignar to make sure that that kick did not put him right into the face of his AD carry.
Yeah, completely agree. Ignar actually played that as well as he could have. Again, the double teleport on the single ward coming out from Jin Air. They will trade an objective. Surely can't leave Expression on this Aurelia unattended, so not all is lost for IM.
Expression, once he gets this tower, should be able to finish up that Trinity Force, which may make this laning phase a little bit easier for him. Decent gold advantage now on the side of IM. Not something we normally see, but 1K in their favor may make it a little bit easier for them. Mostly present in that Sightstone in the Rek'Sai jungle, but making it that much easier for future picks and plays. Although here comes the Abyssal Voyage. Expression's in trouble. Sohwan is not done, nor do I think he ever will be. Going in, trying to get an acquired taste. Exhaust going down. Can't eat the Aurelia at any moment. Riven ult coming out. The cooldown may have been increased, but Sohwan is still making it work. The Black Cleaver built early to compensate.
And again, stacking the gold and the necessary carry potential. The fact that they're denying it from Lulu. She has 3 assists right now, instead feeding it into Sohwan, and this Riven main is coming to fruition here. I can see why it was banned in the first game. If he's able to carry, I can't expect that he'll get his hands on this champion again.
And he's just doing so well. Of course, I am, though, not content to give up anything for free. Are going to take down that bottom tower in response to Sohan. Moves to take out the top. We will have a pause coming out. Not sure what the issue is there. Hopefully this one gets resolved shortly. So, looking at Sohan, I mean, the initial laning phase looked really lackluster against Aurelio, but it seems like once he got that Black Cleaver, everything shifted. More importantly, once he got that ultimate, he seemed much more comfortable.
And yeah, there's a lot of burst damage that comes out of Riven right there. I mean, it's just about your levels where you're putting your points. You've got insane outplay potential on both those champions. I think the 1v2 really just kind of solidified and underlined that Sohan understands how to play this champion. Again, talking about he's so good with the frames on Riven that doesn't normally build Hydra. He's able to do that just naturally. Has the Black Cleaver. Will continue to kind of check in on where his build goes, but he has to translate this into a victory for Jin Air. So I'm excited to see Sohan take the Riven. I'm excited to see him get these early kills, start to get that snowball. But until it really translates into a Jin Air win, can't get that excited.
Yeah, it's true. We always get excited about the early leads, but the question is always going to be turning it into a win.
I feel like we've seen Jin Air get like 18-minute inhibitors where they're just free and open, but the game doesn't end for another 30 minutes. So
we've seen exactly one game like that. And it was very hard to watch, so we will continue to reference it because it is the definitive Jin Air game.
It's actually my favorite game.
Well, when you want to describe Jin Air style, I think that's the game that you show. Not all of their games are that indecisive.
They had a really good showing in regional qualifiers, I think, where they definitively took apart Najin.
No, they did very well, admittedly. Jin Air advanced very well, and I think the key for Jin Air to advance so well as we start to head back into this game was a lot of hard engage options. Ash Arrow coming out, though, is going to find Winged once again. We've seen what this can do. This time, I actually don't think they're going to have much of an opportunity to respond.
I don't think he was aiming for Winged. I think he was looking for the Kench. But either way, it's targetable ability on Winged. I think that's 2 for 2.
Definitely. After that early game arrow that I thought was going to fail, but led to a decent size advantage for IM. Still maintaining their lead, about 2k gold at this point in the game. So Jin Air do have that one dragon. Especially starting to farm up, trying to break even here, trying to match the pressure that the Riven has been putting out, and should be able to do so.
I wish I could see his itemization as we're looking at these beautiful players in their beautiful booths in this beautiful arena. There we go. He's got the Trinity Force.
Merc Treads coming out from Riven, wants to deny that equilibrium strike.
I really like this build from AD carries like Ash right now. So right now she has the Pickaxe, Avarice Blade, BF Sword, as well as the upgraded boots. And this is the tower pushing build. So what you're going to see is they're going to continuously swap around Frozen and Sonstar, and they're going to move Sonstar into, well, what they should be doing is moving him into lanes to siege towers. You are taking the Avarice Blade as opposed to completing the Infinity Edge because you don't need the crit battle stat right now. You don't need the Infinity Edge because you're not fighting a 5v5. In the 2-minute window that this dragon has now created, that's when you want to complete the Eye Edge. But otherwise, you just want the flat AD and the mobility to move around the map, continue to farm, to continue to push down towers.
Yeah, and additionally the attack speed as well. It just makes a lot more sense when you're just trying to hit structures.
It's the most cost-efficient build for taking down towers and fast push.
See it not super paying off. Uh-oh, Kuzan in trouble. The Kench, though, gonna walk his way on out of that one. Swaddle into safety.
That's disappointing.
And that's the nature of Tahm Kench. So that's actually, those kind of plays are something we haven't seen as much from the Tahm Kench. Very frequently we've seen the Tahm Kench player get caught out before the fight today. And so we're being reminded of the world stage and what we saw there from so many teams, which was just the giant note button that is Tahm Kench.
The swagger shuffle that is Tahm Kench.
Just so stylish. Especially continuing to push up the top lane. But despite spending so much time up there, Sohan still has the lead, 137 CS to 121. Pilot and the rest of Jin Air try to push it in this mid lane. They have to be careful. Knockup coming in. That's the flank on the backside from Frozen. Especially coming in as well. They have to be careful. They split up way too early. Frozen could be in trouble. They may try to chase him down, but it's going to be so difficult. This Kassadin, absolutely one of the most mobile champions in the game.
Wings got him.
Should be able to get him moving in for 1 or 2 more autos. He's not going to be able to kill himself on this tower. He's not at least deny anything. Moving forward. That was actually an excellent little bit of play, but just far too low to make anything come of that.
I mean, he was dead either way, but I was impressed. That was cute.
Big issue there, obviously a lack of communication. Coming in from the side of Longzhu, just not communicating that flank well enough. The other players not engaging.
Well, I mean, you didn't have the arrow. The arrow missed, so that's your big primary engage tool. You've got Unburrow from Tucson, but effectively it's arrow, it's Unburrow, and it's death sentence. And if those don't hit, teleporting behind an entire team as Cassidy, pretty much a suicide mission.
In that case, it definitely was. Jin Air, of course, going to take this opportunity to take yet another dragon. In their long games, if they play another long games, this has been absolutely crucial to their success, forcing teams to fight around the 3rd or 5th dragon, depending on how late the game will go. Pilot scaling up comfortably, not, interestingly enough, going for the Trinity Force here, just straight into the Blade Baruch.
Giving him more kite potential and safety, as well as the life steal, as opposed to the Trinity Force Sheen and Phage.
Looking to stay safe against the Aurelia in team fights, most likely.
That's exactly what it is.
And you got to respect that Aurelia. Despite the fact that Sohan has been playing so well, we've all seen what Ionian Fervor can do when it's at max stacks, making Aurelia fundamentally immune to CC for the most part, outside of a few knockbacks here and there. Of course, Longzhu more than happy to just keep this mid lane tower safe and have Sonstar continue to farm up. Has finished that. Still has the average blade, so still getting the bonus gold from each and every one of those creeps. Meanwhile, Cassidy picking up the needlessly large rod. So the Rod of Ages is now fully stacked. Lulu falling a little bit behind in this mid lane, Cassidy. Small lead. Arrow going in. Kog'Maw gonna get stunned, but not for very long.
What a fun champion.
Moving in, they might try to find an engage. Ignar once again caught out. Gonna miss the kick on the backside there, but that will be Ignar's life. Pilot picking up that one. Sohan making sure that there was no follow-up from the remaining members of Longzhu.
And these flanks are really possible by the pink wards that Jin Air have set up on their flanking sides, allowing them to make sure that they have control of that vision and allow Wing to get in those positions.
Sohan pushing forward, threatening constantly to jump into that back line. Wing could be in trouble here. Equilibrium strike going down. The Ash is coming out. Will she activate? Flurry not going to do so. Lee Sin will be picked up and taken to safety. Pilot in trouble though. Tonkin does not have Devour for at least a few more seconds, but Wild Growth will come out. Sohan getting very aggressive. They are going to pick up Rek'Sai and take him out. Jay grabbing himself a snack in this long game.
And also sidestepping a death sentence. Just a great mechanical play from Che right there. And they're continuing the siege. Pilot's still very healthy. This Kog'Maw and Lulu comp up and rolling.
And back up. Ignar looking for the hook. Gonna hit that minion. Pilot will back up, and Jin Air looking a little bit more confident. They found that pick, trying to find that tower, and are now finding themselves with the 2K gold lead. It has shifted. Longzhu falling behind again, although neither team with really a massive lead at this stage of the game.
Yeah, we'll see how this continues and who's going to start speeding up the pace of the game. Again, more item break points coming in. Next dragon fight, curious how Jin Air are going to pick up their vision and move it into Longzhou, IM's blue side jungle. It's been a long day. I'm just feeling the exhaustion, overwhelmed.
Definitely understandable. Of course, ending the day on some of the longest game teams. Always an interesting way to do it. Of course, Tucson, though, going to happily donate that buff over to Frozen as Sonstar picks up the red as well. Tucson, really a giver. Giving up all the buffs to the other members of his team. Giving up a lot of farm in the jungle as well.
Cinderhulk, Lee Sin. Didn't he? No, Wing played Cinderhulk.
2 games in a row, the Cinderhulk Lee Sin. Not my favorite, but he's a walking kick bot now, and he's quite good at it.
That's effectively what Cinderhulk Lee Sin does. I was thinking about it, I was like, what else does he offer his team?
Attack speed slow. Nope, took it out.
Too soon. It's like the pseudo Gragas. Disengage.
Definitely some solid disengage. Dragon's Rage is an incredibly strong ability. Of course, both teams kind of starting to position around Baron. We've seen this dance many times before from both of these teams.
Yeah, so my question was, when are Jin going to pick up their vision and move it to the bottom side to scare the dragon, see the dragon 2-minute window. But they've already placed so much gold worth over the side of this Baron that they might as well prioritize the second tier top tower. If a significant pick goes down in this area, it's very translatable into a Baron for either team.
Longzhu appear very aware of this, hoping to find a pick. Someone, Sohan jumping in to try to block that. Unfortunately, the AoE from Price Seeker will still trigger the Baron. Sohan will have to run off to safety. Does have the Brutalizer on top of the Black Cleaver. Looks to be going the full armor penetration build if that pickaxe will be turned into a Last Whisper.
We'll surely see, because he's backing now.
The issue is if he picks up a longsword, we won't know either way. Tiamat.
He's going for the Tiamat. So taking more wave clear for his team. Looks like he may be opening up some sort of split push presence on the map, especially with his teleport about to come up.
Of course, it'll be interesting to see how the duel goes between himself and Aurelia, as Aurelia is now starting to build tankier. Triforce alone going to be enough damage to sustain her in a lot of these fights. Riven, of course, a lot less tanky options, but a lot more raw damage. Frozen, spotting out that word from Che, will know not to wander there if he wants to remain undetected.
And there we go, Sohan moving down into the bottom side. Again, his teleport just about to come up. Starting to get a split push on, has amassed a pretty sizable wave. And we'll see who's going to deal with him. Will it be Expression that mirrors him? And with the Expression, oh nope, cancel his back. It's actually going to be Frozen.
Frozen now with that Hourglass, looking a little bit more comfortable to go toe-to-toe with Sohan. Also able to match a lot of Riven's mobility with his own Rift Walk. Not the worst option for matching up 1-to-1, but Jin Air will once again grab a dragon. This one completely uncontested, and props to Jin Air for being confident enough to take that, knowing they had the vision, knowing they had the pressure. So
they've got so much vision.
And their diligence in vision and their diligence in map movement is part of the reason why we're so eager to give them credit as the top team. Oh, wow, Sonstar in trouble. Is not going to be able to finish that one out, but Sonstar is so low that this means Jin Air will be able to grab a tower. Is this it, Frostgorin? Is this the Jin Air we've been waiting for?
Frankly, I think that this is more IM just falling apart at the seams. Not that Jin aren't making smart movements across the map, setting up the split push, setting up their vision. But I mean, look at the amount of wards that have been placed. You're not getting valid return on the amount of wards that you're putting out with the information that you're getting with them. I mean, this could be done more effectively, a little bit cleaner, whereas, I mean, it's easy to look good when IM just completely leave the mid lane open and are just slow to react and rotate.
Very true, and of course, Sonstar overextending, doesn't really have any defensive options or threats present with him under that tower, so was just able to get kind of dived on by Pilot. Cogline, not normally an aggressive tower diving champion, but with no one else around and a Lulu to support him, he was happy to get in there. Thought about the 1v1 play there, but not going to get aggressive
wanted it.
on it.
Is he going to hide in the bush? No, he's just going to go ahead and walk over to the wave.
Has to be careful. If he does go down to Aurelia 1v1, it will for sure mean the Baron on the opposite side. Trying to temper that aggression. He's now a Najin, or not, now a Jin.
I think about Najin too, it's okay. Cheeky.
But at this stage of the game, the blades, the transcendent blades are just so
free, low cooldown.
Low cooldown.
There for wave clear.
Irrelevant in team fights.
They're excellent in team fights because of the health that you get back. Aurelia is like one of the few champions alongside old Mordekaiser where you're like, let's fight in an enemy creep wave.
That's why they had to nerf that profusely.
It's excellent because it just teaches bad habits. Because on any other champion, you fight in the enemy creep wave and you're just going to automatically lose. But on old Mordekaiser and Aurelia, you're like, bring it. Bring all of the minions. Give me all of the health
back. That was back in the era when Casterman used to get like a truck too. So it's a very different time for lethal weapons.
Okay, Jin Air again, now that the dragon is dead on the bottom side of the map, picking up their vision, moving it all up into the top side, lighting every nook and cranny up, and starting the siege with the Lulu Kog'Maw onto the top side of the tower. Methodical, systematic, calculated, but quick.
Jin Air confident taking those tier 2 towers. So one lingers around the bottom side of the map. We'll have to see how they do when it comes to taking an inhibitor.
At this point, it's not about taking the inhibitor. I mean, obviously, if they get it for free, they want it. So we'll see if Sohan maybe gets the 1v1 and then is able to pressure that bottom lane. But it's about now baiting around the Baron. Go back, spin the global gold that you got off of the tower, start setting up and, more importantly, denying the vision around the Baron. See if you can find a pick, translate that into a numbers advantage for the Purple Worm.
This time around, I don't think it's the Purple Worm. There's no Kindred Kalista.
It's the Baron.
It's the Baron. It's a legitimate challenge. It offers a lot of threat.
They got
both these teams.
That guy will shred it.
It's true. But we've seen a lot of Baron throws in this set. It is no longer the Purple Worm.
There we go.
Clearing out his own jungle as Pilot starts to pressure up the mid lane. Frozen more than happy just to clear that one out in response. Not a fabulous scoreline, but farming up quite safely. 243 on this Kassadin to Fuzon's 218. Kind of taking a backseat to the farm as he let other carries funnel it. Arrow going down the mid lane. Pilot walking away from that one. Tahm Kench was nowhere nearby. That could have been an amazing engage, but just a slight miss.
I feel like he smelt that as it went past. It smelled like tears and sadness from Sunstar.
Grazed the cheek for sure. Hawk shot coming out. And it's interesting, Jin Air consistently tried this Baron bait with an Ashe on the enemy team. They're just not respecting the Hawk shot. Pilot going in, though, doing a lot of damage as he moves forward. Could get hooked up. Here comes the Tahm Kench, though, not scared to stop that hook. Will move forward. Susan could be in trouble. The box being used to zone. Sohan could come over the wall. Not going to commit to it. They are going to back off. They do burn the Riven ultimate in that exchange.
Brilliant disengage from Ignar right there. Great choke point to find the box to make sure that Riven couldn't get the flank. Likewise, slowing down Winged on his Lee Sin aggression.
Of course, Jin Air now posturing around the dragon, trying to find something. Pilot dishing out so much damage, moving forward with such confidence. Tucson gonna have to tunnel away. Not at all where he wanted to be. They have forced the Rek'Sai back, but he does still have that ultimate available. Have to be careful about taking this Baron. It looks like they're just going to keep waiting for picks. Moving in once again, Ignar. Quick reaction on the flash. He's been there one too many times this game. Knew that he did not want to get kicked out.
And again, round 3. Who's it gonna be?
Prey Seeker, a very smart choice coming in from Tucson. He's learned. They've learned. The bait is not going to work anymore, but Pilot is dishing out so much damage. This Kog'Maw is absolutely insane, and now this is guaranteed to be the Baron for Jin Air. Their only hope left is Tucson on the smite. The arrow coming in is going to lock down Wing briefly. Baron's not low enough. Tucson could come over the wall. He may get locked out, though. Pilot's range just too long as they could secure this one. The smite will go down. Wing will secure it, and Sunstar could be in trouble. Casper coming over the wall. Wing could potentially drop. Hook over the wall onto Sohan. Sohan getting bursted out. Will get the ult off, but it may not be enough. Pilot, no mana. Does have one last activation on that Bio Arcane Barrage.
Again, miscommunication with Sohan. He enters the team fight so far ahead of everyone else on his team and just ends up giving away his Baron and his life for free.
Really unfortunate to see that kind of play from a player that we were expecting to be so dominant on this Riven, but it's clear that that solo queue mentality still hasn't quite...
Just looks a little unsure. I mean, his appetite has certainly been curbed. You know, you talk about the fact that he's prioritizing, you know, pushing and organizing lane swaps, curbing his aggression so he's not overextending or burning his teleport needlessly, looking for 1v1s.
Of course, Longzhu moving in to try to take this dragon here. Pilot and Shay waiting off to the side, ready to dish out some serious damage. Pilot getting caught. Nope. Not going to find it there as Shay flashes out. Pilot, of course, does not have a flash either. That will be the first dragon picked up for IM. Jin Air playing like they contest, but just really did not have the raw numbers there to fight Longzhu.
Still a relatively large power spike right there for Longzhu IM. The fact that you're getting a 31 scaling AP AD buff on 3-4 items across the board. 3, 2.
Definitely be very effective on this Kassadin as well as this Ashe. Not so much on the Aurelia just due to the lack of offensive itemization, but Wing, quick cheeky play there, will take out the final tier 2 tower. Now the only thing left in Jin Air sights has to be these inhibitors. If they can break one, The game will be much easier to close out with confidence. If not, they may have to wait until that 5th dragon or until another Baron opportunity. Coming in, arrow gonna miss Kuzan. Tuzan trying to go in. The wild growth knocking him out of the tunnel animation, and an excellent play from Kuzan to keep himself alive. No pick opportunities there.
And frankly, this just comes down to a vast difference in Sonstar's performance on Ashe versus earlier Ashes that we've seen in the tournament so far. Just not connecting with these high priority arrows.
Now Pilot, sped up by the Whimsy, looks so comfortable just to take these objectives, and finally Jin Air are going to break an inhibitor. And they're just doing so well to keep this going. One more wave on the bottom side means one more inhibitor for Jin Air. Longzhu have to pull the trigger, but they don't have the arrow. The kick coming out, it's going to hit 2. Wing's going to get locked down and will be saved by the Kench. Not a single member going down. Pilot dishing out a lot of damage as he starts to rip through Frozen's health bar with a single auto attack. And that's going to be the 2nd inhibitor for Jin Air.
And, you know, we can go and look at Jin Air's draft and kind of say, well, you know, Songhao got his Riven, looking great on it, but I still feel like the primary victory here is the synergy between Pilot and Kuzan on Lulu and Kog'Maw. Likewise, Shay on Tahm Kench has been doing brilliantly, pulling Pilot to safety, but it's kind of this juggernaut comp that's really leading Jin Air to victory, and not so much the Riven power plays.
No, definitely. The Riven may have been a larger part of it in a few small instances in the early game, just to slow down the Aurelia snowball. But outside of that, I gotta say you're right. It's all about Pilot this time around. He's been able to play so far forward and so aggressively, because who's going to kill him when there is a Lulu and a Tahm Kench at his back?
No, completely agree. So, Longzhu IM, you have to go back to the draft phase and kind of think, you know, what do they do in this final game?
Aggressive use of Abyssal Voyage moving in here. Sonstar is very much in trouble. Pilot trying to duel out. May not be enough. Riven ultimate coming over the wall to secure that kill. Sohan getting locked up, immediately using the QSS. Not even necessary, though. Tahm Kench has got that one taken care of. The blade model is so big that it sticks out of Tahm Kench's belly. Sohan pushing up here, though. Longzhu have to look for a fight if they want to stop Jin Air from just taking the game right here.
Jin Air just need to be patient. They're very practiced at that, and as I say it, they're just like, nope, died the tower.
Jin Air starting to change their ways as they push in here for that 3rd inhibitor. Now it's just a matter of time. Wings learned from the previous mistakes. Not going to rely on Shay to pull him out of that situation. This could be the end of the game. Jin Air slowly but surely pushing into end. Once again, it's all on Longzhu. Incredible miracle to find a miracle here, to turn this one back around. Sohan pushing in on this one. Zanya's used a hook onto Che. Tuzan moving into the back line, but only a single target knocked up. Winged playing forward, playing aggressive as Pilot rips through this tower. Expressive trying to get in there, but you just cannot kill that Kog'Maw instantly. They go to defend the back line, and this means that Jin Air will close out this game, and we will take it to Game 3, ladies and gentlemen.
And this is what we were talking about. You know, Jin Air in Game 1, you said new Jin Air, same problems. Jin Air in Game 2 look a lot cleaner, a lot faster, a lot more decisive. Kuzan, Pilot, and Shay having excellent synergy across the map. We'll see if it continues in Game 3, and if Jin Air can carry through this series, or if IM will fight back.
Smiles on their faces, and I think IM might be a little bit quick to ban out the Riven, when in reality it was the Kog'Maw,
the Lulu,
and the Lulu and the Tahm Kench. So the Kog'Maw is obviously a very big threat, but I feel like any hyperscale carry those two champions is absolutely unstoppable. So I expect adaptation coming in for IM. They've shown that they can be a smart, they can be a clever team. If they don't change their strategy, I think we'll see the exact copy of that same thing.
Well, Jin Air could not get the same draft phase because they will be changing sides. They'll be on the purple side this time around, so priority pick 2, Incredible Miracle. See if maybe they go for the Lulu or trade it for something else.
Or if we see new picks entirely, something else is going to make it to pick dance instead, or Rise, maybe a Kindred, or Lissandra. It's not entirely clear. Obviously, still a lot of flexibility on this patch. Next up, guys, Game 3 between Longzhu IM and Jin Air Green Wings. Hype one, and of course yet another best of 3, but we're going to have a brief 4-minute break before coming back into the next game, our final game of the night. Guys, you've made it this far. There's no reason to leave now. Stick around.
동맹에 참여하라. 그리고 세계를 정복하라. 게임 오브 워 지금 무료로 다운받으세요.
LTE 시대 놀랄 만큼 속도가 빨라졌습니다. 그런데 말입니다. 놀랄 만큼 요금도 비싸졌습니다. LTE 통신비 대안을 찾자. 헬로 모바일 다이렉트. 동영상 하나 여는 게 지갑 여는 것 같습니까? 음악을 듣는데 데이터 떨어지는 소리가 들립니까? LTE 통신비 대안을 찾자. 헬로 모바일 다이렉트.
편의점 택배구만. 15년 됐다지. 싸지, 가깝지, 잘 가지, 편하더구만. 어른 얘기하는 데서
인터넷 예약하면 더 편해요. CU에서
보내 CU.
바라만 볼 것인가? Save the world. 힛.
이연복 그가 만든 짜장면도 가루스프를 뿌리면 라면이 됩니다.
이래야 진짜 짜장이죠.
라면이 아니다. 짜장면이다.
발도 짜장면.
Show me how to lie, you're getting better all the time. And turning all against one isn't art that's hard to teach.
자, 자, 난 돌려주고.
자, 레이저 안 맞습니다. 안 맞네요. 맞네요. 맞고 공중 판정이 아닌가요?
자, 공격이면 하지만 또
한 번 더.
자, 3패
레이저 맞추고.
레이저 맞출 때 레이저 확장.
버킹 로우랑 엘보 이제 강제로 걸려야 돼요.
자,
로우랑 엘보를 맞습니다. 자,
페이스가 모으는데요?
이거 완전히 말렸는데요. 자, 지크리
또 이러면 막 버킹걸 때리면
퍼펙이죠.
이번 라운드도 퍼펙으로
마무리됩니다.
지크리 우승.
정말 쟁쟁하신 분들이 많이 올라오셨는데 어떻게 제가 마지막까지 그냥 포기 안 하고 하자는 생각밖에 없었는데 어떻게 지고 있는 상황에서도 잘 역전 같은 것도 좀 많았던 것 같고 좀 제가 생각했던 대로 잘 준비한 대로 그대로 돼가지고 그게 되게 좋았던 것 같습니다. 이번에 안주하지 않고 더 지금보다 준비를 더 체계적으로 하고 또 일본에 있는 유저들의 영상도 많이 봐서 이제 좀 파악도 많이 한 다음에 확실하게 준비를 해서 일본을 갈 생각입니다. 한국 철권에 자존심을 걸고 꼭 반드시 우승하고 돌아오겠습니다. 화이팅!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nexon Arena here in the heart of Seoul, Korea. My name is Daniel Dracos. I'm joined by Ryan Proskor and more. And this is it. This is the final game of the night. And only one team is walking away, qualified for the round of 8. Jin Air or Incredible Miracle will join alongside Anarchy, Pathos, SK Telecom, and KT Rolster. However, only one of them can advance. What are your... I said that. We're learning. It's a long day. What are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to bust this one?
What year is it? I think it's going to be Jin Air. I think if you look historically, again, the fact that Incredible Miracle in the summer split of LCK were never able to beat Jin Air in a best of 5. Yes, that was with a different iteration of the roster, but even with the new iteration, Jin Air seemed to be playing along the same line, so I expect history to hold true and Jin Air to find the final game here.
A little bit more confidence in that game 2 as opposed to that game 1. Incredible Miracle struggling once again.
Well, even in game one, it was still fairly close and in Jin Air's control for a majority of the game.
And to be fair, when we really look back at game one, was it Incredible Miracle's success or was it Jin Air's failings to utilize their own composition?
Burn.
Incredible Miracle have their solid moments. They had some excellent moments on that Nidalee, but I feel like at the end of the day, when a team builds entirely around the mid-game and then doesn't do much during the mid-game, kind of on you to take that one away from them. But we are going to see the side swapped back. Incredible Miracle will now be on the blue side. Jin Air now on the red. Ban's going to come out first. It'll be interesting to see if Riven is taken off the table, or if they're just happy to give that one over. Riven immediately banned out, actually. An interesting choice.
In mad respect, obviously Sohan was able to pull out the Riven and perform on it, so holding up to his solo queue stats and looking impressive. But again, I still feel like that was majorly in part to Lulu, Kog'Maw, and Tahm Kench.
And I completely agree, but the Riven, of course, don't want to give away any comfortable laning phases. Tahm Kench also going to be taken away, no surprises. Way too many moments where a hook that could have won the game was denied by Tahm Kench. Fiora going to be the first champion banned out by Jin Air, taking something away from Expression. Clearly Sohan not very happy with the Hecarim Fiora matchup that he played in game one.
See what direction the top lane talent is going to go. And we've had Aurelia, Fiora, Riven, and Hecarim played so far up there. Gangplank now taking the bench.
No surprises whatsoever. Got to take those power picks off the table. Nothing specifically a target ban. Riven still very powerful. Fiora still very powerful. Tahm Kench and Gangplank both power picks overall. So no really targeted kind of pocket picks.
Nope, definitely the Riven is the targeted.
Really, I feel like we saw a decent amount of Riven in Worlds, but that's fair. Rise, of course, banned away. That one's a universal power pick, no doubts whatsoever.
But it's banned on the blue side, so the question is it Kalista or is it Kindred?
Kindred is going to be available. Will they pick it up here? If they do not pick this up, I don't actually know if Winged will take it. But the Elise is going to get locked in. We've seen what Kindred could do. I will be stunned if Jin Air do not pick it up here. It is just such an oppressively powerful champion. Lamb's Respite, an incredible ability.
Doesn't need to pick it up right here unless I am want to flex it in the AD carry position, just because their jungler is already on the board.
Very true. Could opt to pick up an early powerful top laner or mid laner. Lulu's still on the table.
I would grab Lulu.
Maybe Lulu and a support pick.
Could grab Lulu, Kog'Maw.
Definitely worked out very well for them in the previous game. Would need to pick something else supportive. Alistar, Lulu. Definitely telegraphing that they could go for that Kog'Maw again. Of course.
Which is why I expect that IM is almost forced into picking Kog'Maw, or at least some sort of... They need a Kog'Maw insurance program here.
It's something to make sure that that Kog'Maw can't just rip through them in the middle.
Either denying it or picking up a lot of backline threat.
Azir, that's going to be the first Azir pick of the tournament, as well as the first Braum pick.
This is my thing about Azir. I talked about it earlier. I feel like the double teleport meta really took a lot of power away from Azir. His option in response to the teleport from the enemy mid laner, either bottom or top, is to shove down the mid-tier tower, just because Azir really can't follow up as effectively with his teleport. It takes time for Azir to set up his sand soldiers to find his damage. He can't just teleport down there and have the initial hard CC lock up like Lulu, like Rise, like Lissandra, like Veigar can.
Braum as well picked up here, and I think you're completely right about Azir. Just very much suffers when he does not have that setup time, when he cannot establish that zone of control.
I still love Azir. I almost would have rather taken Azir and Kog'Maw here as opposed to the Braum, just because I feel like this is such an easy pickup for Jin Air. I mean, they don't have to grab the Kog'Maw. Wow, it's been a long day. My root canal's kicking in, starting to slur. There we go. There's Kindred.
Kindred Kog'Maw. That is going to be an absolutely unstoppable backline. Lamb's Respite will make sure that Kog'Maw cannot be dropped
exactly.
This year.
It's an anti-dive. This is such a protect the Kog'Maw composition.
And it's got excellent damage output, too, outside of the Kog'Maw, because Kindred has the potential to snowball so very rapidly.
And you've got the pseudo-tankiness in Alistar's Unbreakable Will, as well as the...
Wild Growth?
Yeah, the Wild Growth and Shield from Lulu. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you're not as punished for the fact that you're taking a carry-oriented jungler like Kindred. And this is why, you know, when you ask me who's going to win this, yes, Jinair on the red side, but Jinair notoriously, over IM at least, have had better drafts pretty much every single time, and I think it's really reflecting right here. We'll see if maybe IM can pull this out, if they've got a hyper carry picked out to make use of the space and zone control from Azir.
I'm really curious to see what they pick as well. Top lane and AD carry, the two roles left to fill. Malphite Jinx. Clearly a little bit of a different strategy coming in here. Want to make sure to shut down these double AD carries. If they can't knock them out of Lamb's Respite, they'll make sure that they cannot auto-attack.
And exactly, you have to take a hyper carry like Tristana, like Jinx, since the Kog'Maw was already given away, because, again, this is your last chance. You're going to go to late game. I can't imagine that either team are going to throw away their best of series on some sort of early invade or snowball potential versus just playing safe, getting the farm and meeting you in the 5v5. And then on the flip side, you take the Malphite so you have the backline threat against the Kog'Maw.
Of course, two very different comps in how they're going to function, but with very similar damage outputs. Kindred, Kog'Maw, the centers of attention for damage on this team, whereas it's Azir and Jinx. Double hyper-scaling carries on the side for IM. IM really relying on Jinair not to make early aggressive plays, which has been a reliable strategy for them in the past. Additionally, the Malphite and Braum will offer solid engage options for this team as a whole, as well as solid peel. Shen, actually, going to be the final lock-in here, and this is something that you have talked about at length. Kindred when paired with the Shen.
Yeah, I talked about it earlier on in the day. Expect this every single time that you see a Kindred. She's going to work fantastic in tandem with Kalista, but also with champions like Shin. Just because Shin top lane has to taunt, he's able to get over the back of the Baron, especially from purple side. With Kindred's role, it's very easy to sneak a 20-minute Baron with Kindred and Shin taking, or the likes of Malphite.
And Shen, of course, with that feint on top of the Vorpal Blade for additional sustain. We'll have to see if they can execute. Here we go. Finally figured it out, guys.
He got it.
Don't talk while the fans are cheering. Excellent cheers. That's the best thing about this set. The Jinair Anarchy set, I feel like we didn't have quite as many fans in the stadium for that one. But Jinair and IM, excellent following here today. And both teams, I think, playing pretty well, taking it to 3 games. An unheard of feat for IM this year as both teams move out in 2 very interesting compositions. Last time we saw Kindred make it through pick ban, she pretty much dominated the game single-handedly. We'll have to see if Winged can imitate the performance that we saw earlier today from Lyra.
I'm really feeling his freestyle right now.
Yeah, he's got him.
Okay, let's talk about these compositions, because they are fairly similar, like you said, in where their primary carry and damage output is placed. Although we are seeing a bit of an invade here with the power of Braum. Ignore there. Jinx. So Jinx is going to be your primary big late game carry. That said, Frozen on this Azir will scale up beautifully as Tucson takes some taps from Winged. But this composition is about creating space. You have great pick potential, and you do have the engage potential, but creating space, elongating the team fights, opening up room for Jinx to run around with or get excited. On the other side, you're still about the AD carry. It's still effectively coming down to a protect the AD carry comp, but it's an anti-dive comp. Getting onto this backline is suicide. You have to go through the wild growth, you have to go through the disengage of the headbutt pulverize combo, and then you have to go through the Lamb's Respite.
And the biggest issue that I see with Lamb's Respite is if Frozen cannot push the enemy team off of Lamb's Respite, Jinx, there's just no way Jinx will ever enter that AoE, and so while Pilot and Winged may be safe to auto-attack and damage the Jinx, Jinx will never be able to kill them on her own.
You're not going to have the duels on top of
the melee range duels is what Jinx has to be willing to commit to come out on top of those exchanges. Interestingly enough,
we'll see how they play around it.
Exactly. Kindred starting with the Dance of Arrows instead of the Wolf's Frenzy, a little bit of an unconventional start. Kindred sacrificing a little bit of sustain as well as sustained damage. for that small bit of burst onto Tucson earlier on, but we'll be fine as they are doing the double jungle clear.
Yeah, I was going to say he's totally fine because he's got Shin to help him out right there, but otherwise it's going to be standard lane, so Kog'Maw Alistar versus the Braum Jinx. I always love Braum into Alistar. I think it's a great matchup simply because Braum can very easily reposition himself to get between the enemy and his AD carry with his W, despite when Alistar goes in for the headbutt pulverize combo.
Definitely a very interesting matchup. Curious to see how it goes. Shen, of course, in the top lane. Another big question for me. Sohwan has been playing these more carry-style champions for the entirety of his best of 3. First off, starting with that Hecarim and then moving on to the Ribbon. So I'm curious how he will play on a tank like Shen, if this is something that he's comfortable with, or if this is something that he has picked just to suit the needs of his team.
And we talked about earlier in the draft phase how I feel like Azir was punished more than other mid laners for taking the double teleport. Just because, again, it takes time to set up your Sand Soldiers. You don't immediately come down there with hard CC unless you're just amazing with your Emperor's Divide. But Frozen does have the TP, so we'll see how he utilizes it, if he's going to use it for more pushing potential, or if he's just going to use it to try to keep himself in lane as long as possible and pick up some free CS and extra experience that he would have otherwise missed to the bully of Lulu.
I will be curious. Hopefully we'll not have to use it as that kind of lane defensive spell. Hopefully we'll get to use it to its fullest extent. We've seen Frozen be a very high impact player when he can find an advantage, but it's always something that's going to be difficult to do, especially against a player like Kuzen, who's proven himself to be very reliable. Wings and Tucson both with relatively passive starts here, both kind of hovering around the mid lane looking for counter ganks, but not going to commit to anything. You can see that first mark of the Kindred going down onto the Scuttle Crab. That should be a relatively easy one for Kindred to pick up, and that will begin that infinite max or current health damage scaling.
I feel like Kindred's icon on the map looks like Zillion.
Yes, definitely from a distance I'm getting a really big Zillion vibe. It's
Yeah,
all the white and blue.
I'm getting the white and the blue with the beard. I keep looking at it, I'm like, Zillion's in this game, because I don't know if you know this, I don't actually watch the screen, I just sit and look at the minimap.
I've noticed, actually. Once or twice. Now, it looks like Frozen is going to be the target of the mark of the Kindred, maybe telegraphing a gank, or just trying to make Frozen back off a little bit. It is kind of that invisible threat. Makes you feel like you may be being pressured at any moment.
I love Kuzan, though, as I am looking at the screen this time. I love Lulu into Azir, but I'm not going to get to talk about it because
Sohwan could be in trouble, especially taking a lot of damage, but it's not going to be enough to kill him. Sohwan dodging and sidestepping the cocoon. The repel is being used. The red buff disappearing at the perfect moment to keep Sohwan alive. He will back out of that one unscathed. And overall, getting cheeky to go back in and place that ward, but Tucson will have to back out here. Has to be careful. Sohwan,
he's
not
got the
scared at all.
yeah, he's got the dash. He's not scared at all. He's got the creep line in front of him, and likewise, he's waiting for the second rotation of Cocoon to come back out, and he's just gonna dash it with the taunt. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane now,
Ignar could be in trouble.
well, Pink Ward's in trouble.
Wayne's going to take out that Pink Ward very quickly before moving further into the jungle. No mark of the Kindred on any of the camps here. We're not going to get any more stacks, but we'll find a small CS advantage if he can clear out the Raptors.
And effectively, Jin Air are abusing the information of seeing Tucson in the top lane trying to make that gank on Sohwan. So Sohwan creating his identity of absorbing resources and numbers from the enemy team and allowing Jin Air to get deep vision on the other side.
Definitely playing well for them so far, although no really big aggressive moves. The Kog'Maw farming up safely. The Jinx actually with a reasonable CS deficit, despite being the one to push in. A 10 CS advantage in the favor of Pilot. Sonstar not looking particularly comfortable on this Jinx.
Well, you also had Wing hanging around in the bottom side, so kind of giving a slight advantage there in terms of numbers. But touching back on this mid lane, I really like Lulu into Azir. Lulu is actually one of the few champions that can outrange Azir if she places her E, her shield, onto the backline caster key, and then shoots her glitter lance from there.
Definitely a very interesting dynamic. We've seen a lot of impressive plays, you know, kind of alley-ooping that glitter lance, putting it onto a minion or to an allied champion, and throwing it back to pick up or secure a kill that long range. Very abusable in the right hands. Tucson's Lulu. Not very oppressive in the previous game, but very much did its job in the mid to late game team fights.
I think he played it well. I've been really impressed with Kuzan so far, but do want to point out that I am currently have a teleport advantage. Sohan burning his TP and walking straight to Expression.
Get a low cooldown on that one. Pocking, mounting Dread. Getting a decent amount of damage, but that 70% slow only lasts for a single second. So not going to keep Expression down or locked down for very long.
Did manage to place the pink ward, however. Excuse me, spotted the pink ward. Losing my mind.
Important to know exactly where your enemy has vision control. It does give them more opportunities to play around it. You do see Wing picking up that red buff. Both him and Tucson have hit level 6. A pretty big buff for Wing. Not so important for Tucson. Relatively low impact from both these guys. Another Mark of the Kindred has appeared on that top side Scuttle Crab. So we may see
the thing, though,
up there
is that Expression, again, he has the TP advantage, although if we learned anything from last game when he picked up the Hecarim, did he pick up? I'm actually losing my mind. Expression hasn't been super critical on using his teleports effectively. He kind of just uses them to farm, and so I feel like this advantage is actually just going to go completely unanswered. Now, Shin does have his Stand United available to him, so it's not as punishing as it would be against other enemy top laners, but I would still like to see Expression get involved with the Unstoppable Force. Did roam down a little bit before he was spotted out by Wing, possibly looking at a mid lane gank, but I feel like bottom is the area to be for him.
Definitely would be good to see him use that Unstoppable Force to its full effect. Has to be careful, though, when trading teleports or global summoners with Shen. Shen, of course, has the Stand United in addition to the teleport. Now, of course, Kindred should be able to pick up a second stack here. Pretty relevant increase in damage, but still looking like a very passive game overall. Nothing too exciting to report quite yet. Once again, this challenging smite has been very popular. Uh-oh. Engagements coming in. Jake could be in trouble. Sonstar getting aggressive. The Alistar will have to flash out. He does not have level 6. Good identification coming in from Longfield.
Braum ultimate going down, like you said, does trade for the flash simply because it's a support mismatch on the ultimate timings, but otherwise no one dies. Pilot also losing his flash, so need to see Expression in that Unstoppable Force.
One more stack picked up by the Mark of the Kindred, and Expression, as you said, hasn't really had an opportunity to use that item or use that ultimate effectively. Haven't seen much pressure on the top lane since that first gank either. So both Tucson and Expression relatively low impact at this stage of the game. Not even really a whole lot of visible pressure. Of course, Winged in a similar situation, but more than happy to just keep taking these creep camps and continue scaling up that Mark of the Kindred.
And this is the big thing, the fact that, hold on, Tucson.
Could be in trouble. Fumble on the headbutt Wolverine. He is marked down by the Kindred if he can get there in time. He's coming in on the backside. Shen is there as well. Going to use the Wolf Friendly shortly to gain so much mobility. So hard to get away from. First blood to Kindred. And will pick up the kill on Azir as well. Expression may be able to take her down, but at what cost? Che pushing up there, just going to back off the Malphite and turn their sights towards Dragon. Sunstar caught out as well. The Kog'Maw damage on the backside is absolutely massive. Sunstar gets picked out. There's some additional sustain coming on. Ignar running for his life, especially so very tanky, but with 4 members slowly but surely beating him down, he will fall. The red buff going to be given over to Pilot, I believe. They are going to back off in that exchange, however. 2-1 for Winged.
And Jin Air just reacting faster on pulling the trigger for the collapse right there. I am spread out, split up, didn't have all 5 members in the right place at the right time, and Jin Air pick up an easy 2K gold lead.
Of course, solid 2K gold lead to start, but you're seeing how Winged may not be as comfortable, and Callista did not use his ultimate during that fight. And despite, of course, may have been able to save him, may have not wanted to give it over to Malphite, though, in the exchange.
I just can't believe that Kindred is rewarded for power farming as well as farming champions in such a way. But here we go. We have the replay here. So, again, just look at where the teleports are coming. Look at how far down Expression is. He has to walk all the way up the river. Now, the Wild Guard's not necessarily on the best target for Che right there, but the fact of the matter is that this is a numbers disadvantage. The IM players just aren't together.
Very true, and at this point in the game, it's just very difficult to play against this Jin Air lineup because of how strong Kindred is at pretty much every stage of the game. Additionally, Jin Air just very confidently closing in on the weaker side of this pincer movement from the side of IM.
The fact that you mark a champion, you get to kill it, you get rewarded. you farm some creeps, especially the ones that are marked, you get a massive reward as well.
Pilot could be caught out here. Challenging Spike going down, and Tucson going to snag that one. The rocket there for backup. Damage blocked out. Unfortunately, Unbreakable does not block that true damage, but you look cute doing it, Ignore.
They got the pickup, but will they translate this into any sort of objective? Pings are going down to the bottom side tower, but it is from Jin Air. But cannot leave Sonstar on Jinx unattended in a lane.
Jinx just ripping through this tower. Cocoon coming over the wall to make sure they cannot get stopped out here. Wing has the Azir marked. Won't be able to find another stack here, but could find a kill anyway. Good start from Sonstar to find that turret advantage. Swinging the gold back to even.
Initial itemization coming out, however, and did he just pull that? He did. Okay. Yep, thought that was a mistake as well. I don't know what he was doing. I was like, he knows that that's warded, right? Tucson was thinking about the dragon. Thought twice about it.
Kuzan doing very well in the mid lane, as Winged appears to be ready to solo this dragon. Of course, this is the strength. The Kog'Maw and the Kindred are absolutely shredding through this health bar. Kindred already has 4 stacks. 6% of current health on every single one of her auto attacks. Frozen. Going to take a blue buff in the meantime, but I would not call that a worthwhile trade.
Just unreal damage right here. And there's nothing Ignar can do. He just has to watch his raptors be ripped from his jungle.
Poor popcorn chicken.
I like to think of them as little basketballs with feet. They're like perfectly round.
Meanwhile, of course, in the top lane, it continues to be an island. The top laner comfortable leaving, although Sohwan did so earlier. They both just seem content to farm it out. Neither one has really any tower pressure on the other, short of one of them leaving. So very much just staying stagnant, waiting for the team fight elsewhere on the map.
Should be noted kind of the itemization, the fact that Expression is closer to both his MR and his armor item, whereas on the other side, Sohan is currently just sitting on his MR as well as a door and shield. He is facing across from pretty much exclusively magic damage, save for Sonstar on that Jinx, so not as punishing, but not itemizing the Sunfire Cape.
Interesting choice overall. Going to lose out on a little bit of wave clear in that regard. Hasn't seemed to cost him too much yet. This Bambi Cinder will come out right on time. Crossguard predicts it. And, you know, just an interesting difference. Once again, the Kog'Maw starting with the Blade of the Rune King. Not nearly as many backline threats, but Pilot just sticking with that build. It seems to be working out for him.
It's got good lifesteal, and likewise, you still have to be conscious of Expression. Kog'Maw also does a decent job at doing the mixed damage. On the other side, though, we have the tower pushing build being set up by Sonstar, has his BF sword, his pickaxe, as well as the upgraded level 2 boots. Again, the dragon's down, so you know that the 5v5 team fight shouldn't be coming, so you itemize to push down towers as effectively as possible. We'll see if he decides to finish the Eye Edge or pick up the Avarice Blade, but expect him to be in farm mode for the next 6-minute window for that next dragon.
And you have to be careful going into farm mode, though, when you look across at the enemy team. Kindred farming up those jungle champions one at a time. Of course, the good news is...
There's good news with Kindred in the game?
Yes. There's one good news, is that once she hits 6 stacks on Market the Kindred, no longer will creeps be marked. It will only be champions.
It's great news.
I mean, it's not completely free scaling. She does have to kill people, but Winged is moving into the bottom lane. Ignar knows he's marked and is looking a little bit paranoid as a result. Sonstar and Ignar backing off. Pilot ready to push in. Honestly, I think that they could dive this turret. We've seen Lamb's Respite just be so powerful. Just not sure if either team is really fully aware of how to utilize this.
Well, they also have to be cautious just because every single teleport is up, so you guarantee that it's not just going to be a 3v3 on the bottom side. It'll be a 5v5 in a split second.
Frozen. Coming in the back here, trying to dish out some damage. They look like they might be trying to find a fight, but that is not going to land. Kindred on the backside going to rip through Tucson. His host, or Sohwan, comes in. Kuzan trying to find an engage. Frozen's going to try to make it over the wall, but one last auto attack will seal the deal as Winged, the AD carry that they need, going to jump in there. The refresh cooldown on Dance of Arrows will allow him to secure yet another kill, pushing forward in Expression. Once again, the last man standing as he slowly gets burned down.
What a gorgeous taunt from Sohan, as Expression will finally fall right here. He locked up so many key members across that fight. Winged Winged and Sohan, definitely the primary carries. I hope we get a replay of it. It was just the perfect stiff arm of Shen while Kindred just runs through the enemy team. But with that near complete ace, they will turn over the mid tower.
And it just seems like whenever you're facing a Kindred, you absolutely have to have a Gragas. You need to be able to knock her out of that Wolf's Frenzy area so she cannot just spam that Dance of Arrows. You need to be able to knock her out of that Lamb's Bite. And when you do not have those disengage tools, you just get to watch her run rampant through your team, dodging each and every one of your skill shots. Except for that one. Caught him off guard, but I don't think Tucson can fight this.
Wolf just doing so much extra damage on the back half of that trade right there. And you talk about disengage, and I completely agree. It's about making sure that Kindred can't get the shortened CDR, but as I say that, here comes this replay. Just watch this Shen taunt. It's beautiful.
Going in on the wing. The Wolf's Frenzy comes down early on, too.
Look at him. Backs
Shen's
up.
coming in.
The sidestep on 2 members right there. The Jinx and the Azir to make sure that they can't clear out of the team fight in time. And then Wing just following through, flashes over the wall, doesn't even pick up the Braum kill, leaves it for the rest of his team. He could have easily grabbed that.
Already with 5 stacks, just starting to scale out of control, and Expression, falling flat in these team fights over and over again, only hitting a single target in that last engagement, whereas Shen, a beautiful taunt engage, excellent timed shield from the Stand United, and Sohan, this game at least, appears to be outclassing Expression.
I feel like he's definitely been the more consistent and stronger top laner for the majority of the series, but hold on, see if they can burn down this tower before the teleport completes.
Sohan getting locked down at least for a moment. Not going to take too much damage there,
He does
though.
have flash. That is really important on the flash taunt, although they don't have pilot.
Moving forward, have to be careful with Kindred. The damage threat is very real at this stage of the game. Blade of the
I
Ruin
don't
King
know
and Warrior Enchantment finished up.
What pilot's doing. There is no reason for that little guy to be down there. Yep, and he actually forces the teleport from Sohan to protect him.
He forces the teleport from actually from Lulu, because Shen had already burned the teleport, so both teleports down due to that mistake.
Yeah, that was a big fumble. So
Stand United burned as well.
That was from the... Oh, wow, yeah. I am posturing on the mid lane. Jin Air just took a bad path. Pilot decided he wanted to go down and push a wave that was already building, and then realized that he didn't have a tower behind him. He could have gotten flanked and forced 2 cooldowns to save him.
A lot of major cooldowns missing. This is a good opportunity for Expression to go in if he can find a multi-man knockup. Jenner very familiar with how this Malphite plays, though. Che going to find a knockup of his own as Kindred tries to find a way in over the back line. Maybe able to drop over, drop the Wolf's line in the back line. Meanwhile, Expression in the front trying to get something. The flash taunt, you called it earlier, and it comes through. Zonstar getting burned down, getting knocked out of the fight. Tucson, the next to be marked by the mark of the Kindred, and Expression soloed out. Winged is an absolute monster on Kindred. This champion should never make it through picks and bans.
Will they get Ignar? Oh!
Oh, Che.
The headbutt. And just a little slap on the bottom, just to show them that you mean business. You were absolutely right, though. Sohan coming up huge with the taunt. Winged. What a beautiful posturing right there. To be so confident in your own performance that you're going to get an aggressive flank like that. He actually went over the dragon wall, was on the right-hand side of the team fight, got onto the back line, and pretty much forced the back 3 members of IM to spread out in multiple directions.
And what's insane about this is that this is not even utilizing the ultimate from Kindred. This is just the raw damage output of her 3 primary abilities.
Okay, so watch Winged here. He's going to jump over the back of the pit. He gets on the side, and Sohan just goes nuts with the flash taunt. But the damage that Winged is putting out on the back line. Expression, again, finds 1 member with his unstoppable force. Yes, it's the Kindred, but it's too little too late. Jin Air are just so strong across multiple fronts at this point.
Wing just hungry for more blood. The casual headbutt to help protect the enemy.
Just to show them what you mean business.
But 2-10 now, the scoreline. This is a new look for Jin Air. I don't think we can give them too much credit, though. I think this is the raw power of Kindred in their hands, and there's just, when you have this strong of a champion on your lineup, you're always going to utilize it. However, Kindred still 5 stacks, not able to pick up any more in that team fight, so still scaling in terms of items, but not in terms of raw passive damage.
I mean, we keep talking about the new look from Jin Air. Kuzan looks great. His scoreline has been fantastic for pretty much the majority of the series. He's had some great cerebral outplays. individual performance on showing different champions. Obviously, Lulu twice, Lissandra once. 2-0-7 right now, so participating in 9 kills out of 10. He's got 90% kill participation for this game. On the other side, Wing had a fantastic Baron steal, and also showing that he can play the hard carry and has the confidence to do so. Here we go.
Shen on the back line, trying to find a solid engage here. If Wing can take down the Elise, he will get another stack, which will be an absolutely massive increase in damage. Wing, no fear, running into the back lines, does not have the tanky stats, but does have the mobility to get out. They finally use the Lamb's Respite, going to use the Flash instead, especially getting bullied out of this fight. May have to turn an ult on the Pilot. What an absolutely chaotic fight, especially going to ult to safety. The 0-man ult, not where you ever want to be, trying to escape. Chomper's gonna zone him out as Wing was hungry for more. Finally gonna snag the kill. Kuzan picking that one up with the quick glitter lance. Kuzan trying to disengage, but Wing coming in on the hunt. The Emperor's Divide trying to stop the engage. Jinx finally running free, but the Pilot is there to stop any further plays. Wing does have the 2-second cooldown, could go in. Mounting Threat has been blocked, and he will pick up another kill. 7-1-1, the scoreline for Wing.
And immediately that transitions into a Baron. This is going to be so free. You have the Blade of the Rune King completed first item on Kog'Maw. It's going to synergize with the fact that he also has a Kindred on his team, and they are just going to shred through this Purple Worm.
Purple Worm sort of game. Taking this one with confidence. Securing it 23 minutes in. The cheeky rocket for Jinx not going to grab much of anything. Jin Air now. Almost 8K gold lead. Nearly unstoppable. Wing missing a jump. Luckily when it wasn't very relevant, but still a little embarrassing as Cam does decide to reset him.
That was an interesting interaction.
This is such an odd fight.
It's a really beautiful flash maneuver here, but just so much expended to try to get out Expression, and the Kuzan with the flash.
I believe that's the flash, help picks onto Jinx, and then Glitter Lance into the Malphite. A very excellent play there.
Frozen is doing a significant amount of damage at this point in the game on the Azir, however, so win condition for IM is definitely an elongated fight where Frozen can get set up and just hammer into them.
The issue is, though, is in those elongated fights, we have yet to see Lamb's Respite utilized at all by Jin Air. When they use it, how is it going to affect? Are IM going to be ready to play around this very polarizing ability?
I feel like, again, the fact that Azir has to set up in an area, yes, he's mobile with his slide and his Emperor's Divide and things like that, but again, it's primarily you get your 3 Sand Soldiers set up in a little area, and if that's on top of the Lamb's Respite, you know, it takes time, it takes cooldowns to shift out of that area to get your damage back up to full. We've seen Kindred as kind of an answer to Fiora, and I think Kindred also really takes a lot out of Azir.
She just seems like one of the best zone control champions in the game because she requires very little setup time, but her zones are so strong. Tower, of course, going down on the bottom side of the map. And Malphite not able to stop the super creeps in this exchange. Going into the backside for Che, though. Here comes the Kindred. Absolutely unkillable as she moves forward. Has yet to use the Lamb's Respite. Will she finally throw it down? May not even need it. Jin Air dive onto the enemy front line. Take out 2. May find another one. Wing seemingly unkillable. Using the Wild Growth. Refuses to use that Lamb's Respite, but it isn't even necessary. Jin Air looking to break an inhibitor after that fight.
Frozen trying to do what he can, but it's just not enough at this point. And look at Wing.
Finally not going to get an opportunity to use the ult. We may never see it used. So-Won flashing in to snag that kill for himself. Pilot, no fear, the final auto attack. Going to follow Elise to her death. Probably got the assist there onto Winged as well. So despite going down, will still continue to get stacks for that mark of the Kindred.
Gonna go ahead, reset their position, spin their gold, and rush down towards this dragon. Jin Air are in full control. And again, at this point, what do IM have to look forward to? But let's take a look at that dive. Just disgusting. Che getting behind them, knocks people forward. You've got insane damage coming out of Winged and Pilot. Look at Pilot. He was snared for the first part of that fight, but it doesn't even matter. He just sit and spit. Little turret.
As the new Kog'Maw is even more interesting. He becomes a machine gun that plays in the Pilot style as we come into Season 6. But for now,
prep your APM.
Something ridiculous. Anyway, moving forward, of course, haven't gotten a chance to check in on these Kindred stacks, but at 8, 2, and 3, with 3 primary items and a defensive item built, she's going to be absolutely leaving. The Dragon getting ripped down in just seconds. Kindred's not even there, and it's being torn apart. Kindred now just 6 stacks, so decent amount of damage coming out there. Just 6 stacks to give you 1.25 current health damage per stack.
I think this game is pretty much summed up with the Magi's on Q1.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I missed that. Poor play-by-play on my part. That is some confidence coming in from Kuzan. That is some showboating kind of moves. It appears that Jin Air were not too happy to drop the game to Incredible Miracle and are now reminding them who's boss.
And again, if you look at this best of 3, you know, if Jin are able to close this within the next 10 to 15 minutes, doubt it'll take that long. You've got 2 really convincing games from Jin Air with their new iteration, and 1 kind of classic Jin Air game. So where do you go? Where do you flip on this? New Jin Air?
I think it's clear that they're trying to get out of old habits, but I think it's also just you have so many core members. Team Pilot could be in trouble here. Flashing back, Wild Growth coming in. He finally lands it on a few members. The Rocket coming in on the backside as well, but Shen is disrupting the action as Wing just rips through that front line. No tank is safe in the face of Kog'Maw and Kindred.
Devastating damage. That said, that 15k gold difference is really just speaking for itself. They could get the best possible wombo combo imaginable, but the only way they're going to win is if they get it on a 4v5 and Kindred's AFK. This will be Jin Air taking the series, and this will be Jin Air moving to the round of 8.
Of course, Jin Air, huge confidence in showing while they may not have changed our minds about their traditional play style, they are clearly advancing, and this new roster taking on the core of Longzhu Incredible Miracle as if they've been doing it their entire lives. Che going down in the end, but not nearly as far as I am. Jin Air, as you said, advancing to the round of 8.
And Kuzan, a definite standout alongside Pilot. All 3 games, he had a fantastic scoreline. He made the difference, showed himself off as a cerebral type of player, and I am so excited to see how far this guy can go.
Beautiful, just excellent play from him overall. And honestly, Sohwan plays as a carry top laner. His Shen was my favorite of all the teams.
He was technically still a carry, but from the tank position.
Very good, amazing flash taunts, excellent use of the ultimate. Oh, they're drawing the teams now of who they're going to play against. He's raising his fist. He's happy about it. I don't know who they got. I don't know what's. I guess they're drawing for C. We'll let you know when we know, guys. I got really excited. I thought we were drawing, but there's a lot more matches.
There's a prize? You get a card.
We'll figure out what the final draw is as we get those teams through, but I believe they just drew their seeds. Let's see who they match up against in the games tomorrow. But in the meantime, congratulations to Jin Air Green Wings. Congratulations to Anarchy, and also to
Pathos.
Pathos. I almost said Phobos. Very different.
Yeah, so first team was Anarchy, second team was Pathos, third team is going to be Jin Air. We are moving into the next round of 12 tomorrow, including winners ever, the Tigers and CJ.
Spenu, Samsung. Get hyped. The Tigers. Come on.
Ready for the Tigers?
Yeah, the Tigers are going to be exciting. We're excited to see what they're going to bust out after Worlds, obviously.
And then joining us later down the bracket will be KT Rolster as well as SKT. Still plenty of talent to be showcased here.
Of course, you can check out some of these intro videos. A good day, good first day.
Hype
for
videos.
The Naver KeSPA Cup 2015. Thank you, everyone. To those of you who have joined us live for the English broadcast, thank you so much for coming out. I hope you enjoyed yourself. For those of you watching on Azubu or on Naver's new app V, coming out as well. We'll be back tomorrow with 3 new best of 3s that could be even more exciting. I'm excited to see CJ. I'm excited to see the Tigers. Samsung. It's all going to be good. Come back tomorrow. It's going to be the same time, same place, guys. We'll see you there.
Longzhu IM.
롱주 IM.
Longzhu IM.